All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Los Angeles Lakers Network here on the YouTube channel. 4 was surely going to be. No, all right. That's not what I wanted to happen. Sorry, I heard myself there. First, I had some audio feedback. How's everybody doing? Let's get some more people in here. We're going to be live for a 3-hour stream. This is going to be it's going to be fun. Going to attempt to raise some money, put it in a great place. So we're gonna have some guests on as well. Have some guests on the stream. Hopefully we'll be able to do some stuff. So making sure we are all set here, ready to go. I do want to say this. So Trey starts us off. Glad you're doing this, Sean. Hold on one sec. All right. Glad you're doing it, Sean. Still be able to do this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll explain everything here in just a sec. In about 15 minutes, we'll have my guy Anthony Irwin on. He'll be on to join us. Be able to talk some Lakers, but more importantly, hopefully be able to, like I said, raise some money and help out a lot the people that have lost a lot in LA. As soon as I can figure out this one thing, we'll really be off and cracking. Let me see one very quick. Let me see. All right. For the time being, so how the stream's gonna work, like I said, we're gonna be live here for we're gonna be live for about 3 hours. So we're gonna run up until about 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then we're gonna have guests on. We're gonna talk Lakers, a lot of Lakers hoops, obviously. But the hope is to provide any semblance of a distraction for the people that have lost so much in LA. So to explain everything, how this is going to work, any super chat donation or whatever money in general that this stream makes it out, I'll continue to reiterate this as the stream continues. Any super chat donation or any money that the stream make will be donated to help support the folks that are going on in LA. I have a Red Cross link that I'm going to put in the chat as well in just a second. So we'll be obviously at the Red Cross. I'm trying to find where my link is so I can drop it in the chat. Good grief. I don't know why it's not working. That should work, maybe. If it doesn't work, then we'll fix it from there. But yeah, any super chat donation goes to we have the Red Cross. We also have the California Fire Foundation we'll be donating to, and then we also have the Wildfire Recovery Fund that will also be donated to. So trying to split the money up, get to a few different places. My guy, much appreciated support from Croatia to LA. Love it when we get people from outside the country hopping into the chat. But then, yeah, that is okay. So actually, we can disregard that message initially. Here is the official one. There we go. So here's the Red Cross link as well. This is the Red Cross, Sean. This is the Red Cross link. If you want to just directly donate to the Red Cross, obviously send that straight to the people in LA. And then, like I said, we have our other avenues as well. But we're going to talk a lot of Lakers basketball here on the stream. I'm going to do a tier maker I've been kind of putting aside like doing a tier maker here recently. And then we are also pinning. Yeah, I'm trying to pin it. My YouTube like studio thing is like bugging and it's like weird. We got we'll do a tier maker as well. Gonna have some guests on, like I said, talk some maker stuff. I might also want to go through like some trade scenarios with you guys as well. We'll obviously fire up the trade machine. Sure, there's gonna be a lot of trade talk. And like I said, it kind of at the top, you know, this hopefully is to help as a distraction, right? This is a trying to give some people like anything to like take their minds off of the hardships of what's going on right now, and we'll laugh, have some good conversation, and like I said, hopefully able to help out some people. So be a friend, tell a friend. Let's get as many people in here as we possibly can. Like I said, I'm gonna be pinning that comment. I mean, like as soon as my studio will stop bucking, there we go. So like I said, there's the Red Cross link. I just pinned it in the chat. Gonna have some guests on here in a sec. Let's get through some of the message we already have right now. Be a friend, tell a friend. Guys, it's a 3-hour stream, so I'm gonna be asking you guys of a lot. But can we hit 250 likes on the stream? Get as many people in here as possible. Trey says, glad you're doing it, Sean. Dope of you to do it. Pray for LA. Sup, Sean. Yeah, before we get our first guest on, a little bit of like transparency, I guess, and why this is kind of like hit so close to home. My dad, I have a lot of close family in general that live in LA. My dad lives specifically in Pasadena. If I haven't like explained that already, my dad lives in Pasadena, and he had to evacuate. Now, thankfully, his house did not get burned down or anything. But, like watching JJ Redick talk about, what happened at Palisades and him kind of driving through or whatever, you just like see the emotion, just a very, very like raw emotion on JJ Redick's face. And it hurts not to like get super emotional about it. And JJ, I think, obviously provided a ton of perspective, as he is. I think JJ is great, like at relaying messages and communicating in general. So yeah, definitely sucks. Yeah. So family, check out your close family. Like I said, I am not in LA, so I'm fine. But it's not really about me necessarily. Thank you, Sean. Today has been rough. Not an LA native, but I learned my store I work for is closed next month. So need all the positive vibes. Thanks, SD. Yeah, man. Praying for you, bro, and hope everything on your end goes all right. Sup, Sean. Hope all is well with you, bro. Chart's not looking good right now. Yeah, last time I checked, it was 20-6. That was before I hopped on the stream. Yeah, certainly not looking good right now. Mom mentality. What up, Sean? I live just an hour from LA and know friends and friends of friends who have been evacuated. Tough times, man. Stay strong, LA. Support. Yeah, that's one of the things about, I think I can say pretty confidently, in like knowing people from LA and seeing to a certain extent how LA like rallied towards like the Kobe death and things like that. LA is a really resilient city. I think that goes without saying. Really resilient people. It's a city like about community, I think. Yeah. And I hope everybody is doing all right as well as they can, at least. And getting through the tough situations. But did get a question earlier. But Mama mentality, much appreciate the super chat. I can understand wanting to play in dedication, but it's hard to watch. We know people are losing their homes, pets, and more. Yeah. I completely understand not playing right now. As a matter of fact, I said in I said in a video recently that I would have honestly been surprised if they played yesterday or tonight, excuse me. Now, I do think they'll probably play Monday. And I think even like if it eventually gets to a point where they if it gets to a point where they like play in Phoenix or play in Vegas, I think eventually, I'm not saying that like in a negative light, more so just like I am wondering like how long the league is going to go without any games being played, like home or away. So I do expect here at some point, like I don't know if we'll see any home games for a little while, but I would honestly be a little surprised if maybe not even Monday's game against San Antonio, but like no, tonight would have been San Antonio. Wednesday's game. I want to say Wednesday's the Clippers, isn't it? Wednesday's Miami. I wouldn't be surprised if Wednesday's like in Vegas or in Phoenix or something along those lines. I mean, I don't know Phoenix's schedule off the top of my head. I guess I could check because the Phoenix game. I mean, they could play in the T-Mobile arena. No, T-Mobile. Okay, yeah. Phoenix's schedule. Yeah, Phoenix goes on a road trip starting next week. So, I mean, it depends on what else Phoenix has going on in the arena. Speaking of Phoenix, they're on a road trip, so I don't know like what the arena's looking like next week. But I think a potential alternative is, the Lakers playing in Phoenix next week. I think that's definitely on the table. Definitely on the table. I think Lakers don't play for a while, maybe 1 to 2 weeks off, if not more. That's definitely at least at home. Okay, yeah. Like that's definitely a possibility. Like I said, I think that kind of falls in line with my thinking that I don't know if they play at home anytime soon. Fire still largely, not contained, which is again super, super, super unfortunate and devastating, honestly. Clippers in San Diego and Lakers in Vegas wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, I can see them doing that. What's going on with the Chargers? It must be really bad now if I'm getting people from Twitter asking me what's going on. It must have gotten really bad. Oh my God, Herbert has 3 picks. Jeez. 23-6. That sucks. That sucks. I mean, it is what it is, man. Like I can't really say anything about Herbert. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything. Last one, the dude got hit in the hands and he popped it up. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like I can totally envision that happening. We got our first guest on the stream here in just a few minutes, guys. As we're starting to get some more people in here. Just reiterating kind of the premise of the stream. It's gonna be a 3-hour stream, guys. We're gonna be here up until like 10 o'clock Eastern, probably. And if we're going really good, might go even longer than that. Like I said, any super chat or however much money in general this stream makes will go to the Red Cross, will go to the California Fire Foundation, will go to the Wildfire Recovery Fund. Some great places, guys, to really, really, really help out some people. I my guy Duke is in here. Yeah, so I guess it's appropriate for me to take the Chargers jersey off now, right? I don't know if you guys are interested in a wardrobe change on camera, though. When do I think that the postponed games will be played once everything's settled? So this is a weird idea I had. I'd have to look at the Lakers' schedule like near the All-Star break. Okay, so here. This is kind of tough, but so here, let's pull up the schedule. before we get our first guest on. This is kind of what I'm thinking, right? And while I'm doing this, let me see. All-Star Weekend 2025. February 16th. Okay, so you got to count for really like the 14th through the 16th, I guess, right? I think it's very much possible, and this would suck, but I think it's possible that the Lakers play Wednesday, the 19th. I just think that's a pretty easy way to do it. You got to make up these games somewhere, and eventually it's going to get really, really tough to make up some of those games later on in the year. I think it's possible they make up a game right before this Portland game. So it'd be a back-to-back, which sucks because then you play Denver Saturday, but then you got Sunday, Monday off. You got 2 days off before you go back home to LA anyway. I will say this, and this doesn't even really matter. As our first guest just popped in, we're going to bring him on stage here in just a sec. There isn't going to be a situation, regardless of where they kind of move that game to, that is going to be like an ideal situation. But those are just the times we're living in. And speaking of times that we're living in, got a first time collab. I don't think I've ever. No, he's came on one of my playbacks before, but in a setting like this, got my guy Anthony Irwin. Bring him on stage, Anthony, my guy. Welcome, man. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thanks for having me, man. I I saw you tweeting about this project. I think it's a really, really cool project, and reached out to you and said, "Hey, man, whatever you need, let me know." Obviously, my heart goes out to everybody going through what people are going through here. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Guys, fire off any questions you guys have for Anthony. We'll get to those. Like I said, any super chats, go immediately to the foundations that we've already talked about. Where's my sheet at? So yeah, obviously what's happening in LA is devastating. I'm glad I was able to get you on. So we do have a super chat here before we continue. AJ goes, wouldn't it make sense for the Lakers to trade for LaVine for the present and as a temporary post LeBron star to pair with AD? I mean, first off, Zach LaVine's balling right now, Anthony. So the price of yesterday is the price of today, obviously. But what do you think about the general premise of the super chat?
Yeah, trading for LaVine or anybody in that price range is just really difficult for the Lakers to do after they traded D'Angelo Russell. That you're talking about 4 contracts basically to get to the number that LaVine is making. Because of the way he's playing, the Bulls are asking for more than they were last year. I was actually pro LaVine trade last year.
Yeah.
When Chicago was willing to attach draft compensation to him. And now this year they are asking for stuff for him, which, you have a year off of the contract. He's playing his ass off. He's legitimately been one of the most efficient offensive players in the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
At the volume that he's producing. So yeah, I get why there's interest or, from fans, but after the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell, it's basically impossible without completely altering the complete makeup of the roster.
Yeah. I agree with the general statement there. I think LaVine in general is a really underrated talent. I think some of the injuries and stuff and the contract in general is kind of led to that. But
they missed their opportunity. Like last year was the year to trade for him when Chicago was, doing everything in their power to get off of the extra year on his contract. And so at one point there was a report that they were willing to attach a first rounder to LaVine to get off of him. I'm told that's not really the case, that, the draft compensation that would have been attached to him is like second round type stuff, but still, like,
could you imagine you picks to take Zach LaVine?
Right. And so could you imagine where they stand now? They would have picks in their pocket. They'd have a actually really good and productive player. I actually really agree with the premise that, like, you have kind of the engine of your offense after LeBron. I don't know how well he and Reeves would have meshed. I think you would have run into some of the same problems that D'Lo and Austin had defensively, but at the end of the day, man, like, he is a really, fantastic offensive player. He is gifted enough athletically to be, I think, better defensively than he is. He just, hasn't played in situations where they demand very much of him defensively.
Yeah.
I was on board with, swinging for the fences there last year. This year, once that draft compensation to take him went away, let alone the fact that now they are asking for stuff for him, I just don't think it makes very much sense.
Yeah, that's obviously it's very, very frustrating that they missed their window.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think have, kind of traumatized, and not even traumatized Laker fans, like has kind of made them like, all right, well, we'll see it when it happens, is Jared Vanderbilt. And we've heard for a year now, literally, oh yeah, he'll be back.
Almost literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
A month away.
He'll be back here, or he's ramping up and things are going great.
Progress. Yeah.
Progress, right? It seems like Vando's return is finally coming pretty soon. Let's just talk about like what Vando's return means for the Lakers and how it could even impact this team's decision making heading to the February 6th trade deadline.
So Harrison and I recorded a pod last week, and like literally got into like a journalism conversation. For what it's worth, so that you guys know, I'm an English major. I didn't think I was going to get into journalism. I didn't even think I was going to get into like any kind of podcasting or broadcasting or anything. I was going to be an English teacher, a high school English teacher and a basketball coach. And so when I reported last week that Vando, should be returning here within the next like week or so, I told Harrison, I was like, all right, so here's what I run into. I'm being told that there is real optimism Vando is coming back within the next week or two. I'm also very skeptical of the fact that Vando might be returning within the next week or two. And then on top of that, the type of role that they envision for Vando also doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to me, because JJ really wants to lean into small ball, and they're gonna go with him as like a pseudo 5 in the way that players play the 5 in switchable lineups and stuff, where positionless lineups. I think it gives the Lakers another NBA player. I'm curious how this is going to go. I'm a little dubious over it because I don't think you can play that way with LeBron at this stage of his career, or frankly with Anthony Davis. Like, you're making him less of an anchor to your defense if you're going to be switching everything. So I think he comes back, or I'm kind of told unofficially that he comes back Wednesday. The day after that week-long period where they're going to assess how his body handles practicing and full contact and all of that stuff. I think he's back as soon as Wednesday. And what they're going to do is, over the next couple weeks while they have him, they're going to evaluate how the rotation looks, and then kind of make their decision as to whether or not they're going to commit to this wing heavy, switchy, athletic type of identity, or if they're going to go out and get a better backup center than Jackson Hayes or Christian Wood. Or Christian Coloco, who JJ Redick appears to hate on a personal level. So I don't know. Can you hear me all right? Like, are you good?
Yeah, my headphones just started tweaking, but I'm assuming you're good because it's the chat has not said anything.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've been able to like make out some of the stuff you've been saying.
We'll essentially they're going to like Sky Falcon puts it well here. The bigs aren't good, so they're going to play more of the players who are actually good, right? So
yeah,
we'll see how it looks though, because I can only count. You help me out with this. I can only count like 5 players maybe 6 who fit that identity, right? That positionless, switch everything type of identity. It's like Max, Vando, Dorian,
Braun, AD, I guess.
kinda if you squint, but Austin
Yeah.
doesn't fit that identity. Rui doesn't fit that identity.
Gabe, maybe.
Kinda,
And
so
Gabe has the
yeah.
effort and the 1-2, I guess, to where you can say Gabe.
Yeah, but he's too small. Like,
Yeah.
we're all limited by our own. I say this with multiple chins. We're all limited by our own athletic abilities.
I think you bring up a great point with Vando and kind of how JJ views him, which has me a little bit nervous. So he's in Utah, and I think Utah used him perfectly offensively, but then like just completely jacked up his role defensively. Like they had him as like a drop big, essentially. They played him as a big in Utah,
Yeah.
where it's like, no, he gets here and it's no shocker that he gets here and defensively he rocks, and he has that infamous Dallas game. He has game 1, I guess, of the Golden State series that everybody loves to turn to when they talk about Vanda's impact. But then like Darvin never really figured out how to utilize Vanderbilt offensively, or like kind of in the way that Utah did. And now I'm kind of getting like similar feelings about not from Darvin, but kind of how he was using Utah. Like I think everybody's really worried about how he fits offensively next to AD, and rightfully so, because we've seen 2 years are like 60-ish games maybe of Vando not being a good offensive fit for this Lakers team. But I'm not really worried about JJ in that regard. I'm worried now that, especially with the report being that he wants to use them as a small ball 5 and things of that nature. I'm like, no, that's what Vando's good at.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me.
Yeah. So it's funny when you report something, all you can do is relay what you're told, right?
Right.
And when because I there was part of my reporting that the Lakers see him as a small ball 5, or that they're going to play him as like the pseudo center. Because we've already seen it with Dorian a little bit. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they make the Dorian trade. And then the very next game, Jackson gets a DNP CD. And then, obviously he played the next game after that because AD was out against Portland. But I think Jackson played like 6 minutes last game. Coloco's seen his role completely disappear. So, I do think eventually we're going to see a Lakers team that commits to small ball. I just don't think they have the horses for it. And my, I guess, frustration here is that, if you thought committing to small ball was ever a possibility, then you needed to make the roster tweaks back in the off season so you could work on that identity and mold that identity over the course of the year. This is a really difficult thing to do in mid-January, and if it doesn't work, if you try this and you realize, oh yeah, that's right, we only have 5 guys who kind of fit the system, you go back, and will that be time wasted while you try to figure this out? So I don't know. I don't love the notion all that much, even while I'm the person who kind of reported on it. I don't think it makes a ton of sense. For Vando specifically defensively, like what he's best at is guarding, I guess down, guarding smaller players, guarding, going out there on the perimeter, chasing smaller guys around, using his length, using his athleticism, using his physicality on the perimeter. What he isn't very good at is the stuff that you do on the interior of the defense. And, maybe JJ doesn't quite have that experience with him and is working off of the idea of Vanderbilt more so than the reality of Vanderbilt. But, I guess we're all we all have to wait and see.
So I think with Vando, you kind of touched on it a little bit. And I put a tweet out about it the other day because I see, again, I talk about how that Golden State game 1 clip just continues to get, splattered all over social media. And it's been the case for like 2 years now. basically since the game happened. I think what a large portion of the fan base thinks Vando's really good at versus what I think he's actually really, really good at are kind of two separate things. I think if you go look at that game one from Vando, what Vando did a really, really good job of is denying the ball, not letting Steph get good touches, active in the passing lanes. You see him like get a couple of blocks like that. That's what Vando's good at, right? But then Golden State made him. I don't know if irrelevant's the right word, but they kind of took him out of the series, and everybody kind of appoints that to his offense. Is not the offense. It was Golden State made him guard and pick and roll action the entire series after game one. And that's what made it tougher for him. So, I mean, again, like I guess I can see the vision of having him as a 5. You just switch everything, but kind of like we've been saying, and you just said, you don't have the guys to do that. Like, name more than 3 players on this team that can switch everything. You can't do it. So that's the unfortunate problem.
It's also like the teams that switch everything and actually, like, people always think of the Warriors as and they were an overwhelming offensive force, but you watch those guys defend back when they were when in the middle of those runs. And you had 5 guys on a string running with, just
peak Draymond.
Yeah, Draymond was a nuisance. Clay is one of the best 3-and-D players I think I've ever seen. Iguodala, like Max Kellerman wanted Iguodala over everybody else, and even KD, like, as a defensive presence, is like a 7-footer who can move his feet like a guard. So, like, if Steph is your worst perimeter defender, then you're all right. You're doing okay. Cause the thing that people always think of Steph is like this really bad defender, almost kind of like Steve Nash was, but no, Steph, I think early on in his career was really, really bad, and then got himself to be a league average defender, which made his impact insane because he's obviously one of the most impactful offensive presences ever. And those Warriors teams, like, the Clippers teams, when they had like Patrick Beverley before like the Paul George trade, when all of those guys would just get after it defensively, like going small and switching everything. Miami, right? With LeBron back in the day, those teams as well. Like, when you commit to that, it's a cultural statement that you're making, and everybody has to play like their life depends on it defensively. And the Lakers they don't have that culture. They don't have that identity. And and they don't, again, have the horses to be able to do it, even if they had that culture in place.
Got another super chat here. Like I said, guys, any super chat donation throughout the entire stream and just any money in general that the stream makes will be donated to help support all the people that are going through what's going on right now in Southern California. J1 says, do people exaggerate about LaVine's deal? He's productive and still relatively young. Cap also is going way up. Lakers are great with elite shooting. I see where you're coming from. Like, I think LaVine has 3 years left.
2 years after this one.
2 years after this one. I don't think it's even really the deal. I think it's kind of like we talked about now, especially now that you don't have D'Angelo Russell. The problem more so is, getting enough contracts to trade for Zach LaVine. And when you look up and now you got Zach LaVine, you realize your team is completely gutted, and it's LaVine, AD, Braun, and Edmonds. Like, that's kind of the situation.
I also like, it's kind of tough. People always talk about like, well, the cap is going up, the cap is going up, the cap is going up. What if it doesn't go up to the extent that you're hoping it does?
Fair.
And then now all of a sudden you planned financially for this big uptick in cap room, and if that doesn't play out that way, you're really kind of screwed. So, I look, once D'Lo was traded, this whole conversation became moot, and I think when D'Lo was on the team, the LaVine trade made sense, made basketball sense and financial sense. But like, now that if you trade for LaVine now, you're talking about, Rui being in the trade, you're talking about Vando being in the trade, you're talking about Austin potentially having to be in the trade too, Max as well. Like, any non-max contract that the Lakers have almost has to be in the trade now. And I just don't think that helps you at all. It puts you back in that situation you were in when you had Westbrook and LeBron and AD and a whole bunch of minimum contracts. And we've seen the Lakers with minimum contracts, like it hasn't been great, So yeah, I just think that they missed their window. And I think the whole league missed its window. Detroit, I think I'm told got close to a trade for him, and then he got surgery. I think to kind of sort of keep himself in Chicago and not have to go to Detroit. That's a great what if, a great NBA what if. What happens if LaVine doesn't get that surgery? Detroit's having a nice fun season this year. I think that team looks very, very different with LaVine on it. But yeah, we'll I think some team is going to trade for him and he's going to play well, and people are going to be like, man, how did he go for as little as he went for? And the explanation is going to be like this new CBA. Like, we'll see how that team looks 2-3 years from now in this new CBA, which really punishes those big contracts.
Yeah. Jackson says LaVine is now worth 132 over 3 years. He's scoring on a bad team, not playing any defense. Move on, guys. Hey, that is also a fair statement. Moving on a little bit. Don't want to take up too much of your time, Anthony. What would you say is the biggest surprise, both good and bad, so far for this Lakers team?
Good surprise. It continues to be LeBron being as good as he is at 40. Like I really think we take that for granted, how insane LeBron's production is at 40. But we'll take that off of the board because, again, we tend to take that for granted. Max has been incredible since he got into that starting lineup, and since they basically made him the point of attack defender. Max himself has been handling that role really well, and then the impact we've seen it make on Austin, where he doesn't have to be the point of attack defender too. He has looked a lot better offensively. You're looking at least a big chunk of the front or of the backcourt of the future for $20 million combined or so for the next 3-4 years between Austin and Max. That's a pretty damn good combination, I think, on the back end of the LeBron tenure and potentially beyond LeBron. Like, if you have those guys at that cheap for as long as they have them, that allows you to do some other cool stuff across the roster, with the extra space that you have. So I think that's the biggest positive, so pleasant surprise. Downside, I would say I'm not very impressed by the coaching staff. Like I was, a little concerned about it coming into the year. And I think, even with that in mind, I've been a little disappointed by like the self-scouting and the adjustments and how long it takes to make those adjustments. JJ, like, I understood JJ was a rookie coach, not just a rookie NBA coach, but a rookie coach. I knew that a learning curve was going to happen. I was hoping that the Lakers would surround him with a better coaching staff to get him through that process. And it just hasn't really worked out that way, I don't think.
Yeah, I think so. You went with Braun. I think the biggest surprise, and I don't even know if this is really a surprise. So chat, let me know if this is like me copping out here. It's kind of been the jump Austin's taken this year, and I guess some might even call it predictable, considering, like, you could potentially chalk up last season as, look, he's splitting touches with D'Lo, he's coming off of Team USA, and you kind of saw it especially at the beginning of the season with Austin, like the dead legs and things like that. But even then, even when it kind of started getting going for Austin, it was still kind of up and down last season. And I mean, up and down for Austin is still averaging like 16 points per game on, like, at bare minimum league average efficiency. So, like, take that with you will. But this year, JJ talked all summer about how, like, look, believe in Austin, believe in Austin, believe in Austin. He's our guy going forward. And he was playing so well that they felt so confident. Like, you know what? Yeah, we'll just trade D'Lo and go get a real playoff player that can help us. And Austin's got it. And really more so like the playmaking stuff. That's been the most impressive.
Yeah.
Like really making high level reads and things of that nature. And then biggest negative. I mean, you went coaching process, which I would also agree with. And maybe this also falls into that line. How wildly inconsistent this team has just been offensively. Where I expected the kind of the disappointments to come defensively. And don't get me wrong, it was absolutely the case for the first month or so of the season. But I mean, December on, they've been at least a relatively good defensive team, but just completely sucked on offense. And that was kind of the thing that I feel like Laker fans attached themselves towards with JJ was, offense will be good. Defense will be shaky. We don't know how much, JJ knows about defense, but offensively, they'll be really, really good. And it's just been wildly inconsistent. I guess some positive
to that point, them being as inconsistent as they've been, even while Austin makes that leap, makes it all the more frustrating, right? Because you would think, oh, dang, Austin is a real creator. You add Austin as a real creator next to LeBron and AD, there's your offense. You have it figured out. And for whatever reason, that hasn't been the case. And it's kind of head scratching that they have that going in their favor and haven't been able to be consistent offensively despite that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ken, offensively, that's supposed to be the side of the ball. You're like, or side of the floor. You're like, okay, JJ's got us. But it's just kind of been the opposite. All right, Anthony, I'm going to put you on the spot. Before I do that, we do have another super chat. Much appreciated. J1 says, does the NBA viewership problem affect the cap?
To a certain extent, but not really.
Yeah.
Like it's a very, very nuanced, like they got their TV deal in place. And so like the viewership problem would affect the next TV deal after this one. But the TV deal is in place. They figured out the figures from ESPN and ABC and Disney, and they figured out the numbers from Amazon. That's all kind of ironed out now. So like at this point, the viewership stuff is more, I think, a statement about kind of the health of the league, but it doesn't really impact how what the cap is going to be set at.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. We'll get to some trade questions to wrap up with Anthony. So there's been a lot of debate and a lot of chatter on Twitter about LeBron's place amongst the Lakers greats. And, we are two, I think, I don't know if controversial, polarizing people in the Lakers space.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put both of us on the spot here. We're going to try and chat. We'll use your help as well. We're going to try to formulate the only accurate top 10 Lakers of all time list.
Wow. All right.
And to clarify to start, because I think you might have even had a post about this, because there's going to be people like, why is Jerry West so high? And I think it was you that was like, bro, Jerry West, forget the player. It's Jerry West, like, off the court. That's the biggest reason.
Yeah. West is probably the most impactful Laker ever.
Yeah.
Like, he's number one on this. He's number one on my list of like top Lakers ever. You have him as the player where he's literally the NBA logo. Right. And then on top of it, he's the greatest executive that the league has ever seen. He helped you get Kobe. He helped you get Shaq. He helped you get Magic, and he helped you get it's just he's helped the Lakers at every level that you possibly can help an organization. So he's number one on my list. But yeah, I think a lot of the people who kind of discount Jerry's impact were probably born like after 1990.
Yeah. Well, I was also born after 1990, but
oh man,
I understand Jerry's impact.
Yeah.
All right, so chat, let me know. All right, gotta love the chat keeping me updated on my Chargers getting shellacked on national television.
Yeah.
Might have to take the jersey off here at some point. All right, top 10. So you have Jerry 1.
Mm-hmm.
The only argument I would have, I would personally still slot Kobe 1, but I completely understand having Jerry 1. So we'll just slot those two guys in as 1 and 2.
Are we doing just players or are we doing overall impact?
That's interesting. Let's go. I guess we'll go overall impact. Impact. Because I think actually if you go just player, I think Shaq's probably a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Where I think there was a good point that was made on Twitter. Like, Shaq was great, but one, kind of how it ended kind of taints it, and two, like him going to play in Boston kind of taints it a little bit. But
yeah, that matters, man. He blocked me over this, but he sent out a tweet or something like that. He was like, I don't feel like I get enough Lakers love or something like that way back in the day. I was like, I just replied with an image of him in a Celtics uniform.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, bud. Like, once you wear that uniform, it's kind of over for you.
You're dead to us.
Yeah.
All right. So Kobe, Jerry West, 1, 2. Is it Magic 3? Kareem?
All right. So this is where it's also tough because I would like Dr. Buss is in my is really high on that list.
I forgot we're doing overall impact. Yeah.
So like if we're doing overall impact, I think I gotta have Dr. Buss in there. I gotta have now unfortunately I wish he would have like had more productive children, but that's a different okay. But yeah, I would say all right, so I would say you have Kobe 1, which I get, like, he's my favorite Laker of all time. I would go Jerry, Kobe, Magic, Kareem. No, I would go Jerry, Kobe, Dr. Buss, Magic, Kareem is my top 5.
Jerry, Kobe, Dr. Buss, Magic, Kareem. My guy Jackson says Chick Hearn's top 5. Can't forget Chick.
Oof, Chick's a good one.
Pat Riley.
People don't realize Chick was like, he would help with front office stuff while he was,
really
simultaneously. Yes. Oh yeah, man. Like he would.
Okay.
So this is the funny thing about the Lakers is, and it's something that like, it's funny and it's not funny because like it leads to, I think, some things falling through the cracks, but like everybody who works for the Lakers is demanded to multitask. So like nobody just does one thing for the Lakers. And Chick Hearn was like in like front office meetings while big decisions were being made, and he had a real voice in those meetings when those big decisions were being made. So like when one of the funny things to kind of chart when I was a kid was if he was really upset with a player, I would just kind of like count how long that player was actually a Laker. Like it was, if he was really dogging a player, I was like, all right, start the countdown, Dad. Because this guy might not be a Laker for very long.
Right, and then you look up trade deadline. Oh, huh, yeah, that guy's gone now. That's kind of
yeah.
Timing's about right.
yeah. So yeah, Chick is the best, I think, voice of sports ever. I'm biased, but it's between him and Vin. And we're really blessed to have been able to listen to both. But yeah, Chick probably belongs in the top 10. He's probably like towards the 8 through 10 range, but I think he's a top 10 Laker of all time.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I do think, even though this is overall impact, for the most part, I am still going to lean player more.
Yeah.
So yours was Jerry, Dr. Buss, Magic, Kareem. I would actually, I think, agree with that. I would flip Kobe and Jerry. And Jerry. I think if we going through 6 to 10, I think it's then for me. Is it already like Pat Riley, like 6? Chick can maybe have an argument for 7. Let's see. We got a couple of lists thrown in here. A Mama Mentality, Kobe, Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Jerry, Dr. Bus, Pat Riley, James
Well,
Worthy.
if you're putting Pat in there, like Phil has to go there. Phil has to be in there.
Oh shit, yeah.
Probably higher than Pat, if we're being honest.
For being yeah, all 5 of the Kobe era.
Yeah.
So then would it like Phil 6? It sucks. Like it sucks again, like with the Shaq thing, because I still think he has to be there, simply because his like prime was so elite. And regardless of whatever happened with his exit and his relationship with Kobe, and then him playing in Boston. Like when somebody actually like to think about Shaq, you immediately think of like purple and gold 34. But once you start involving overall impact, people will be snubbed. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a good and a bad thing. We are really blessed as Lakers fans. We've rooted for a lot of great players and insanely impactful people.
Yeah.
I think though, like, so I did. So my top 5 was Jerry, Kobe, Dr. Bus, Magic, or was it Magic, Dr. Bus, whatever it was, and then Kareem. I think LeBron, for like saving the post Dr. Bus Lakers, right? Because
people don't give him enough credit for that.
Yeah, like they were floundering, man. Like, there was an attempted coup between the siblings, Jim tried to like take the team from Jeannie, and Jeannie had to sue Jim, and there was that entire mess, and they were like tanking because to stay in the draft and stuff like that. So, LeBron saw all of that and came to LA anyway, won a championship in the year that we lost Kobe, and in the COVID year and all that stuff. Like I think LeBron's a top 10 Laker in my book.
Yeah.
I would say, Shaq is a top 10 Laker. And then you have like, Phil and Pat. And then, the debate becomes between, I think, Chick and like James for number 10.
So wait, like 6 through 9 would be what?
So I would have order's tough here, but I would go.
But the guys in general is what Bron.
So Bron, Shaq, Pat, Phil, and then it's tough between James and
Chick.
Yeah. I think I lean James. No, man. Chick was there for all of it.
I know.
I think I go Chick, then James. James is just outside the top 10.
I think
Vladimir Radmanovich from Justine. Yes.
I think my 6 through 10 would be. I think it's the same guys. Somebody put Wilt in there too, I think, earlier.
Oh man, Wilt's tough.
Chat, thank you for continuing to remind me that the Chargers are blowing it. Thank you. Jeez, we're gonna get this for 3 hours straight.
AC Green was a fun role player, but he's not in like the top 10 or anything like that. I don't think Wilt makes my top 10 either. I won a championship, lost a ton of championships, and then like didn't have the impact that like Jerry did away from the court.
Yeah. And again, to clarify, I think Bron gets so much leeway here because of, bro, it wasn't Melo. It was Lamar. You got LaMarcus Aldridge like declining meetings with the Lakers.
No. LaMarcus. So KD outright declined a meeting with the Lakers.
That's right.
LaMarcus, they had him in for one meeting, and that meeting went so poorly that they asked him to come back and pitch him again. And after that second meeting that he took is like an agent favor, like the agent did a favor to the Lakers to bring him back for a second one when he had no interest in going to the Lakers. Not only did the Lakers not sign him, but they got fined because of that picture of the dude from Maroon 5 wearing an Aldridge Lakers jersey. So they didn't sign the guy. They embarrassed themselves trying to trying with the first meeting. The first meeting went really poorly because Jeannie kind of like took over the meeting, spent the whole time talking about what they could do for him away from basketball. He wanted to know how they were going to maximize his basketball window. That's why they brought him back, and Mitch had to handle the second meeting. And then they got hit with the tampering fine because of the Maroon 5 guy wearing his jersey.
Wow. So yeah, 6 through 10. I mean, I guess I'll give an official order. I'm gonna lean Shaq 6 because his prime was just so dominant. So 6 Shaq, 7 Phil, 8 Pat, 9 Braun, 10 Chick, I think.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Mike Penberthy. I have a fun Mike Penberthy story. That's maybe for another day. Bring me back and I'll tell my Mike. I've accumulated some funny stories here. I have a good James Worthy story. Have a good Mike Penberthy story.
Yeah. Last two quick things before we let you out of here, Anthony. Once again, much appreciate you hopping on. One, somebody asks, does Braun get a statue at crypto?
Yes. 100%. Yeah.
You think he gets one?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, he rescued them and has somehow kept them afloat while, Jeannie and Linda and Kurt and Tim Harris have just, mismanaged the organization. So, and Rob. So I think he deserves a statue. I don't think he'll get 2 jerseys retired in the way that Kobe did, because he wore the 2 different numbers, but I think he'll get a statue. And I think he'll, the Lakers do not win a championship like that championship without him. And, we're about to see how well it's going to go without him. So, we'll see.
And then a final question here. Do you think the Lakers make another move before or on trade deadline day in February 6th? Cyclones, I'm going to get to your super chat. I got you.
I think they make another move. I don't think they move a first rounder.
So we're thinking really marginal then.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Now look, I will say this. If they move a first rounder, it will be for a player who is on nobody's radar right now. I think that, if they, because I'm going to be honest, the guys who are on people's radars isn't I don't see anybody on there that I'm like moving first round draft capital for. And I know people keep talking about Walker Kessler. He's not available from what I'm told. He's just the Jazz are not trading him. So as far as guys who are available and who the Lakers would have to move a first rounder for, I don't see anybody on the radar right now that I would do that for.
Yeah. I don't think Kessler's available. I'm a big Cam Johnson fan, but Brooklyn, from what I had heard, was they want 2 first, which is kind of why it didn't happen when they got DFS, because if you're getting Cam Johnson, then you would have just done it when you got Dorian Finney-Smith, you would think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm also of the opinion too that I'm so confident. And this was, I wouldn't say I heard it was a very informed opinion, that they don't trade Rui. And to the point that I will buy a random subscriber a jersey if they trade Rui. That's how confident I was if they don't trade him.
Yeah.
Are you on the same timeline there, or you think he does get moved?
I wouldn't be as confident on that front. Like I wouldn't promise, somebody a jersey over it, but I joked once we found out that Rui wears 28, with 2 being the number for Gianna and 8 being the number for Kobe. That's the kind of thing that you say and you do if you want to be a Laker forever. That like tugs at Jeannie's heartstrings, and she really, really likes him. Obviously the Japanese market makes the Lakers a bunch of money too. So like you have to mention that stuff too. But I would prefer they move him. Like I would, now that they have Dorian, and then we got to see what Vando looks like when he comes back. I think Dorian probably takes a spot in the starting lineup. So it's kind of tough for the Lakers to say that, they will not trade Rui in these conversations across the league, but then he's probably not going to be a starter either. So
yeah. Well, also Tani in LA. Yeah. Can't say it doesn't play a part. Well, all right, Anthony, don't want to take up any much more of your time. Thank you so much for hopping in, brother. Really, really appreciate it. Anything you want to plug before we get you out of here, man?
Just Lakers Lounge, youtube.com/@Lakers Lounge is where you can find us. What I am going to do, I'm going to go through here because I can see starred messages too. So $2, $5, $5, $5, $2. I am going to.
Sorry to cut you off. I can announce so far already. We've already, not even looking at the super chat side. We have raised on the Red Cross link $200 already.
Perfect.
And we got 2 hours to go. So much appreciate everybody that's already donated. Got the link pinned for anybody that's new to the chat. And then there's a couple of super chats I haven't gone to yet. Sorry to cut you off, Anthony.
So the super chats that have come in while I have been here, I'm going to go ahead and match that on that link to Red Cross. So looks like 2, 5 is 7, another 5 is 12, 17, 19, 24, 26. So yeah, I'll go ahead and match that and probably a little bit more. But I hit me with that link though when you get a second, Sean.
Absolutely.
And I'll donate there.
Absolutely. Much appreciated, Anthony. Guys, Anthony Irwin, go follow him out. Go follow him and check him out. I'm sure you guys already follow him. Lakers Lounge does a bunch of great stuff. Way more plugged in than I am. So go check him out. Does amazing stuff.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Really cool project that you have here. If you need anything at all ever, man, hit me up.
All right, man. Absolutely. Thanks so much, bro. All righty. Anthony Irwin, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm really, really quickly, because there's 2 super chats. I want to first thank everybody who's already in here. I need to really, really quickly fix my headphones because towards the end there, it was kind of weird audio feedback. Got a couple super chats we're going to get to. We do have Jovan Buha hopping in here in about an hour from now. Jovan's going to hop in with us, break down some trade stuff. We're going to be doing a tier maker here in just a sec. I want Anthony's opinion. I much apologize. Here really quickly. If the Lakers were to trade for Walker Kessler, will we be able to resign both him and DFS money wise? We might have super chat again. Much apologize. Can't talk. See, that's what happens when when the Chargers get destroyed. I can't speak when the Chargers lose. Oh my God, Herbert threw 4 picks. Yeah, I think it's gonna be time to change the jersey here in just a sec. 12-13. All right, chat. I get it. That was the score. Jeez. All right, so it's gonna get weird with my camera right quick, but I do need to disconnect for a sec. All right, so now I am on a different camera. I'm on my MacBook camera. All right. So the audio already sounds a little bit better. Chat, can you guys hear me all right? Everything good? I do think I'm taking this off. It is bacon in here. All right, yeah. So we took that off. Chargers got destroyed. Why aren't I watching football? Because we're raising money. Here. So once again, guys, for anybody just now tuning in, we're trying to see if we can hit 200 likes on the stream here. So do me a big favor, guys. If you guys are new or just now joining, hit that like button. Hit that like button. We're trying to get as many people in here as possible. Like I said, any super chats or money in general this stream makes, we're going to be donating that to multiple charitable organizations. Already got our Red Cross link set up. I have the Red Cross link pinned in the chat if you guys would like to donate directly there, or super chats. Again, obviously guaranteed way to get your question answered, and going to the Wildfire Recovery Fund and the California Fire Foundation. Obviously hitting close to home for a lot of us. I'm sure almost all of us here know family in or know people just in general in the state of California. Yeah, let's see. I mean, is he watching the game simultaneously as he streams? I'm not gonna lie. I turned the game off when I hopped on. If it was like still a good game, I would have like probably kept the game on. But it was not a good game, so I immediately cut that shit off. Damn, Herbert, more interceptions he did. It's the most Chargers bullcrap ever, by the way. Elite level QB all season long. Get to the playoffs. 4 interceptions. I hate it here. Hit that like button, guys. That's what I got winning tonight. Steelers or Ravens? I got the Ravens winning. One sec. I was more so talking about Ravens Steelers. Oh yeah. I had the Ravens win tonight personally. So what do you guys think about a conversation there about the best Lakers ever? That's a really hard conversation. To do. Best Lakers ever. Especially if we were talking overall impact, which we were. Would the Lakers be able to re-sign both DFS and Kessler if they traded for him? Right. Let me pull up the cap sheet. Here. Walker Kessler extension eligible. He'll be restricted free agent 2026, 27. It was DFS. So I think with DFS, the goal would be with Dorian Finney-Smith to kind of re-sign him for a deal. 3 for like really less than what Rui made, honestly. Like anywhere 3 and like 45 and under, I think is kind of ideal. DFS, we pull up our cap sheet here. Thanks, Rancy. Yeah, absolutely. DFS is player options for 15. He's 31 years old right now. So like 3 for 45, I think can kind of make some sense for Dorian Finney-Smith, especially considering the fact that I age 31, 32, Dorian Finney-Smith, could be just looking for, long-term contract and stability than like the, heavy hitter contract right then and there, if that makes sense. So like if you did 3 for 45, declining deal preferably, exactly what I was thinking. So like even if next year he got 17 and then it's 15 and then it's 13, I think that gets you to 45 if I can like count. Yeah, that gets you to 45. And even like the last year is like a non-guaranteed deal. Maybe fleecing DFS a little bit, but you get my point. Like I do think you can do that. And then you have Walker Kessler. Chat saying they're seeing some people say that he thinks he gets 20. I think that's about right. Anything more than 20 for Walker Kessler feels like an overpay. Like let me see this really quickly. Where is okay, yeah, like Zubac is about to be making 18, 19, 20. So yeah, like anything more than 20 I think it's like, right about where I would say. It's right about where I would say. Hold on one sec. We got to get the link set out for our next guest. Like I said, guys, Jovan Buha is going to be on with us in about 45 minutes now, top of the hour. Top of the hour, Jovan Buha will be on the show to break this one down with us. Hold on, let me see. One sec. All right. Anyway. All right. I had to check a chat right quick. Go after go. OSHA, Sean's cooking. Yeah, we have 3 guests on. So my next guest, he'll be joining me in just a few seconds. So one of the things I've talked about on the channel here recently is how I want to kind of expand the channel. The plan is around the trade deadline that we start a weekly Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers Network podcast. That is the plan as of January 11th, 2024. That's the plan, to start a weekly Los Angeles Lakers Network podcast. Not an everyday thing, but definitely something like, once a week we get to sit, talk Lakers. Some of them will be post-game shows, etc. Have to work that out. But so the next guest is going to hop on with me here in any second. Is it Trevor? No, it is not Trevor. Trevor is not hopping. I wasn't able to, unfortunately, wasn't able to get Trevor on, and that's all right. Cranges? No, not Cranges. Cranges would have been a good shout. That's my guy. Got to collab with him here soon. Sean, do I actually believe that Kessler is available at all? If they put both their picks and possibly unprotect 27, Cranges has said he's available from the people he's talked to. So I can kind of follow up and ask the people that I've talked to, but to my understanding, the growing sense is that he is not available. He's not available. And Utah is really wanting you to overpay for Walker Kessler right now. And I'm not going to lie, if I'm Utah, I'm kind of fine with not trading him. I think Walker Kessler is putting together a really, really good season right now, to where if you want to overpay for him, by all means, go ahead, which would be a situation like this. Hell yeah, if I'm Utah, I'm trading him for both your 2 unprotected picks, and I'm protecting the 2027 pick. Hell yeah, I'm doing that if I'm Utah. But that's the kind of overpay, in my opinion, that I think it would take to get that deal done. And that's just kind of the situation. Look, I'm a big Walker Kessler guy. I think he's had a spectacular year. But, I don't think the Ainge is see 1 pick and I'm protecting the 2027 versus 2 picks, I'm sure, though. Look, I get that. Yeah. But if you're also going to have to unprotect 2027, that's just kind of nasty, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. Once again, guys, Super Chat's greatly appreciated. Guaranteed way to get your question answered live on the stream. Give me one sec. Not even sure JJ would start Walker Kessler. Yeah, that's kind of a concern. I do understand that. I do definitely understand that. So what I'm thinking here, is I would like to unprotect 2027 for pick and still in a non-Kessler deal. We'll see. Understandable. The thing is, if you're trading one first for a center, this is a Kessler. Why not trade both for Kessler? Yeah, I understand you. I understand it. It's a one first, 2 second. It just sucks if they don't view like unprotecting 27 as a first. That's, I guess, the unfortunate part. That's the unfortunate part. If they don't view unprotecting 27 as a first, which I understand why they wouldn't view it as that, because it's a top 4 protected pick. Yeah. Sean, when I do this trade, Rui, Gabe, Christian Wood, and a first, plus the pick swap for Nikola Vucevic, Torrey Craig, and Javon Carter. You get a big to play next AD, give him a rest, a guard off the bench, and Torrey can play shooting guard and small forward. Only problem with that is Vucevic sucks on defense. Vucevic is like objectively not a good defender. Lineup would be AR Max, AD Vuce. Low key, I'm still starting like a DFS there, but okay. Javon, Torrey Craig, Vando, DFS, extras, Cam, Hayes, and Shake. What was the deal again? Gabe, Rui, Christian Wood, plus the first, plus a pick swap. I'm trading all that for Nikola Vucevic at what, 37? I don't know. I kind of ignored the pick situation. So maybe that's a blunder on my fault. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to do a tier maker here. And I was thinking of doing a player tier maker like throughout the entire league, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to do a tier maker of the teams, of the best teams in the league. We're going to be doing the best teams in a league, breaking them down. We got about 40-ish minutes or so, maybe a little bit less than that, until, like I said, my guy Jovan Buha comes on at the top of the hour. But we're going to welcome in a new guest on the channel. You guys, I hope you guys are all familiar with his work. Does a bunch of great stuff on Twitter. Make sure we plug his stuff there as well. My guy, Corbin Ford, you guys can follow him on Twitter at Corbin NBA. Corbin, my guy, welcome in. Much appreciate you hopping on here for the Los Angeles charity stream. How's it going? And I hope you're having a better day than me as a Charger fan.
I'm sorry. First of all, I'm doing okay. I'm a Saints fan, so we're not even the season's over. I'm moving on.
But, I feel better.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. But no, I thank you for having me on. I'm doing good. Happy to be here and be a part of something really super cool and chat with you. Big what do you call it? Long time listener, first time, or long time fan, first time caller. That's what I feel like right
now. Oh, good, man. Much appreciate you hopping on chat. The chat's great, well welcoming, or Jesus, I can't speak. See, again, Chargers losing has me very like discombobulated right now. So bear with me. Lakers #1, no bias. Hey, we'll see. We'll see. Trying to see if we can find like a good, okay. All right, cool. Is there really should be a way you can reset? Should be able to reset. Hold on. I'm trying to there. All right, cool. So, Corbin, I was thinking we do a fun tier maker, maybe, if it pull up. There we go. Got technical difficulties. But, chat, we're going to need you guys' help with this one, all right? So, we're just following, like, the tier that it's giving us. I should have ranked top 10 Laker role players. We'll get to that. We'll do that later. I won't forget you guys. We will make sure we touch on top 10 Laker role players. Yeah, we'll absolutely make sure we hit on that here. Really quickly, one more time before we get going, for anybody that's kind of, straggling in. It's a 3-hour live stream. We are we're about halfway. We're about halfway through. We are at the hour 20-minute mark here in like 7 seconds. So much appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. We're trying to hit 200 likes on the stream. We're already halfway there. Try to get as many people here as possible. And then any super chat that you guys submit, obviously guaranteed to get your question answered live on the stream. And then what's I about to say? Oh yeah, we also have the Red Cross link above. It's pinned in the chat if you guys want to donate directly. One final thing. Y'all act like Trevor and Sean are enemies. What, did somebody say something about Trev? I must have missed it. I did try. I was talking with Trev. It just unfortunately didn't work out. Just didn't work out. But yeah, I don't know what the chat was talking about. All right, so this tier maker has it as they will compete for the title. They will make it to the playoffs. They'll be close to the playoffs. I don't really like that tier, so we might have to rename that. Maybe they could try again next year. They're in the bin for the next 10 years. Jeez. So let's reorder this. So let's go. What you thinking here? Let's go title contenders, like clear cut title contenders, maybe.
Yeah, the no brainer contenders.
Yeah, I like that. What do we think about like title threats? Like not like clear cut contenders, but like threats. Like in a best case scenario, it can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a squint and you see it type deal.
Yeah,
I like that.
So title threats. We'll go playoff contender.
Okay.
Playoff contender. We'll go can make the plan. And then we'll go with the last one, Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
I call it flailing for flag, so I like that.
Flailing for flag, I like that. I can't spell right now, so we're gonna go Cooper Flag.
No, I like it.
All right. Are these ordered within tiers? Yes, or at least that's how my brain operates. Corbin, I don't know about you.
Makes sense. No, I can work with that. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing we have up,
so we'll kind of refine it.
First thing we got up here is the Houston Rockets. And capture the flags better. Okay, I like that one.
Oh, that's actually really good. Yeah. I've heard that. I just forgot it. That's a good one.
That's a good one. The Houston Rockets. So the Houston Rockets are obviously, having a great season so far. Having a great season. They're the 2 seed right now. They just beat the Memphis Grizzlies the other night. What are we thinking here? What are we thinking about the Rockets?
It's tough because you look at where they're on the standings, you look at them on their good nights, and I think title threat, right? But then you see games where it's not. I'm a big Jalen Green fan, so when it's not his night or when it's not anyone's night for the ball to go in the basket, then I'm definitely like they're not winning the chip, but they're contenders. So like I kind of want to split the difference and put them at the very top of like playoff contenders. I guess we also put them very back of title threats, but I feel more comfortable with the first one.
Yeah, I think the chat agrees with you. And really what Dark Galaxy says here is my biggest reason why. Like, look, they have an elite defense. Like, the defense is going to make them a team at the very least to where you're not going to want to play them like round one, especially like you're an older team. God forbid you're an older team, like the Lakers, kind of ironically. But I just do not trust their offense at all. And I like Jalen Green. I do. But I'm kind of at the point right now where I'm kind of like, I got burned last year by Jalen Green because he has that insane March stretch.
Oh yeah, I was a monster in March.
to the point. See? Right, see, I told you. Like,
exactly.
Dog, he was so good in March on my other NBA channel. I did a film breakdown on Jalen Green and how he took the next step. Immediately shits himself and is not the same player.
Yeah,
so
it was a hard fall immediately.
So I am admittedly a little bit burned. I do agree with you, though. I agree with the chat, too. I think top of playoff contenders for right now feels right. Their defense is elite. And that, like I said, that at the very least is going to make them a really, really tough out. because their defense is so good, and you're just not going to want to face a team like them, like in the first round.
No.
The Miami Heat. That's tough.
Yeah.
Because in a perfect world, Corbin, I would have Miami like in between playoff contender and play-in team. In a perfect world, that's where they would be at. They're like if there was another tier splitting these two, that would be the Miami Heat.
On the bubble.
On the bubble, yeah. I don't think you make another one because I like that you have to be decisive. Chat, what are you guys thinking here?
That's tough. Yeah.
Playing, they're a terrible plan. Chat's pretty firm with playing right now.
Yeah.
Corbin, what's the thought process? What are we thinking?
I'm kind of fighting myself because, like, I feel like Bam's regressed offensively this season. Well, I don't feel it. He has regressed offensively this year. But like Tyler Hero, I mean, everything we're not involving shooting the three where he's like kind of below. Exactly. In my mind, I'm like, Nikola Jovic has had some moments. Like, there's been some good play here and there. Duncan Robinson can still shoot threes. Like, they can make the play, right? Playoff contenders.
Yeah, they're a lock playing team, I think. They're a lock playing guy.
Yes. Do I think they're playoff locks? No. Do I think they're playing lock? Yes. I almost wouldn't put them where the Rockets are, but there you go.
So, like, look, I did say, and obviously we can readjust these as we go. I was saying this on the Hoop Venue pod the other day. Jimmy Butler and what's happening with him right now is taking so much away from what Tyler's done. Because the conversation on the Miami Heat has been Jimmy's a cancer, Jimmy's this, Jimmy's that, yada, yada, yada. And the conversation should be Tyler Hero playing at an all-star level. And I get it. Like, there is some skepticism about Tyler Hero's and like if it's sustainable. And this is not a Miami Heat podcast. This is not the Hoop Venue podcast where I can yap, or my channel about non-Laker stuff most of the time. But I will say this, Corbin, I actually do think it's sustainable because his shot profile is way better now. Like, he's taking out a lot more of the tougher shots. And from an analytical standpoint, he's taking a way better, like a more advantageous shot profile, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. It's more sustainable. You trust him more. You know, it's not, oh, he's having a great stretch of luck. It's like the opposite of Jalen Green right now, kind
of. Right. So for now, we'll leave them here. I think eventually we'll probably like throw them up in like backup playoff contenders and not feel great about it. But there really isn't like a spot to feel great about Miami in.
For sure.
Charlotte's pretty easily captured a flag. They've just been too hurt and like not great. But man, can you imagine like Cooper Flag next to LaMelo and Brandon Miller? Oh my God.
It'd be a monster if they could all play. Right? Otherwise, it's going to be a monster in 2K. Like, I agree with you. If they can all play, like, look out. But I don't know. Like, Charlotte, in theory, it's been good. But the health, like you said, they should be an average bad team. And because of the health, they've just been like a horrific catch the flag team.
Somebody said Charlotte is whatever is below capture the flag. Jeez. I have a hot take for you, Corbin. A hot take.
I love them.
The Orlando Magic. Follow me here.
Okay.
Follow me here. This is the perfect if you squint. Like, you are squinting. Like, you have one eye completely covered and you're like barely like I can barely see you right now. That's how far I'm squinting. Dog, their defense is elite.
Wow.
Jamal Mosley is an elite defensive coach. Paulo Banchero, the more and more, now this can completely age poorly in like a week. But like Paulo, you have the playoffs, you have this season, 6 games albeit. But Franz also took a leap. And I'm banking on Franz getting back, Jalen getting back, and Franz and Paulo playing well at the exact same time. Because if that happens, they have an elite defense. They have 2 high level offensive engines that are both like 6'9" wings. And that's going to be a nightmare for teams in the first round. I do not think they're first round exits. Not this year. They're not like finals threats, serious finals threats. But like if you ask me right now who I feel more confident in, and we can obviously adjust this, I feel way better about Orlando than Houston.
Yeah. I feel better about Orlando than Houston for sure. Do I feel like they're that much better? In a way, yeah, I guess I do. But I guess in the same like tier of like contending. Like I can see a good second round out for them. I think they have some of the same issues that Houston has offensively. Not in the sense of like the droughts, but it's like you have to really, I mean, their defense is their calling card. That's their strength. Do they have enough consistently offensively? Yes. Banchero's been great. Wagner's been great. You've gotten another great shooting year from Jalen Suggs. And when he's not taking too much of the offensive load, it's great, right? But is that sustainable enough? Like, can they get cold? You know, obviously the three ball isn't really their strength. Like, there are some questions there about the consistency of it for basically everyone outside of Paolo and Franz.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I do want to add really quickly. Somebody made a mention in the chat that they think title contenders and title threats is too similar. So I went ahead and I changed title contenders to title favorites. Where it's saying like definitively, no, these are the teams that like have the best shot at it, and they're like the clear-cut favorites. Where this tier are teams that could, in an off scenario or whatever, maybe not even off scenario, but could win, but it's a little less. It's less likely than the title favorites, obviously. I do think. Okay, so for now, you let me know what you think. I do think for now, maybe I slide them down the top of playoff contender with Houston, and then we'll just readjust. We'll adjust later.
I like that. I think we have to save title threats for Philadelphia. So
we'll get to Philly. Toronto. Toronto capture the flag.
Come on now.
So I got so much crap. So I was doing my preseason power ranking series, Corbin, and I said I had the Pistons above the Raptors. And after each like episode, I would post a poll like, "Hey, who do you think is gonna be 27, and who do you think is gonna be 26, et cetera, et cetera." And each time, it was like, "Dog, where the hell is the Pistons?" Like, dog, the Pistons are good. The Raptors are not good. And I get it, a lot of it's been health related. I think they're playing right now, which is kind of funny. But that team's not good. They're not good. No. I'm out on Darko. They're just not a good team.
I have to ask you a question. Do you think that they're playing kind of below expectations? And I say that because, like, I expect them to be bad. I can't expect them to be this bad. And yes, they've had injuries, Scotty Barnes most notably, but I feel like they have interesting players that, I don't know, I feel like they are what I'm trying to think. What I thought they would be what the Hawks are. Like a team that's like, yeah, they really, really good. No, but like they can kind of come up on you. You know what I mean? But they're not that at all. They've been just trash.
At the very least, I kind of expected Toronto to be like a fun bad, which is kind of what they had been. Like a fun, like an enjoyable bad. Like the Brooklyn Nets, when they were healthy, were a really enjoyable bad team.
Yeah.
Like I could watch a Nets game and not feel like I was like, somebody was just stabbing me in my eyes watching them play basketball. And that's kind of what the Raptors are. They have some decent players, but chat kind of wants us to get through all the capture the flag teams. And for time purposes, I'm not opposed. Are you?
Good. No, let's go.
Portland, capture the flag.
All right.
Do you care on placement with Portland?
No, not really. I guess
behind Toronto, maybe
Charlotte probably. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say maybe.
All right, we'll stick with that for now.
Okay.
Brooklyn's a capture the flag team.
Yep, falling fast.
Yeah, where are we thinking with them, Corbin?
I like them ahead of the Hornets. I don't know. At least I like them ahead of the Hornets.
Okay. Yeah. The New Orleans Pelicans. I do want to save them for later. I do want to save them. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back around to New Orleans.
It's complicated tier.
Washington is capture the flag. I think they're actually. Where would you put them at?
Wait, I'm sorry. You know, I just realized the closest to capture the flag is like the worst, right?
Yeah. No. So like the Wizards right here would be like this would be the worst. So
Okay,
like
good.
the Raptors would technically be Raptors would actually be the best team in the tier.
Worst. Okay, that makes sense. No, then I like Washington there. I got Brooklyn being in the middle actually makes a lot of sense to me. So I like Washington at the
end. Utah also probably at the end. Utah might be worse than Washington.
Crazy to think, but yes.
Capture the flag. Okay, I think the rest of these teams, the Pelicans are going to be in this tier, but I did want to say this really quickly. With the Pelicans, I had a rant on the Hoop Venue pod that will drop tomorrow about the Pelicans not trading Zion, because I strongly believe that they trade Zion, they are actively setting themselves back even further. And Corbin, it reminds me a lot of like the 2022 season with Anthony Davis. Maybe not the same like level, because AD at his peak is obviously a much better player than Zion. But the conversation was, oh man, like AD's been hurt for a few years in a row now. We got to trade him. It's a bad year. It's a really bad year. Lakers missed the playoffs that year, obviously. It's a really, really bad year. We should trade him. And I remember saying in the moment, dog, if you trade AD, you are selling so incredibly low. He's going to go somewhere else, get healthy, and he's going to be a top 8 player again. You're going to feel stupid. And they didn't trade AD, thankfully. And AD's been a top 8 player for the past 3 years, right? Zion, maybe not the same level, but it'll be okay, cool. As soon as you trade him, he's going to be a top 15 player. Like he's kind of shown when he's been healthy. So I don't know. What are you thinking here? What's your thought process with the Pelicans?
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. Like my thinking is, yes, like he's been injured. There's been maybe some maturity issues, like in terms of missing practices. Nothing super huge in my mind. But like if you are a guy who, just because the way he's like built, I'm still gonna say, like, I want to say generational. I shouldn't have dropped that, but like he's still such a unique athlete. When he is playing, he is so productive. I don't think that you let him go and have serious like dreams of like, oh, we're trying to get better. Like that's just not what I think. So I'm very much with you on that. I hear it, I get it sort of, or I can see why people would think that way, but I strongly disagree. Like you gotta figure it out. You got to figure it out with him, because I think he's too talented not to. And other teams are going to jump on that in a second, because I feel like every team in that situation, yes, is a tough one, but like I think 28 out of 30 is probably going to take that chance anyway.
Like you tell me if the Pelicans right now said, hey, look, Zion's available on the market. Like, can you guys imagine the thought process of like San Antonio just coughing up one of their like many firsts that they have to pair him with Wemby, and how terrifying that's going to be? AD can be a top 8 player if he's behind and beating and Joker 2 bigs in front of him. Yes, he can be a top 8 player.
Just a lot of talented bigs.
But yes, he can. All right, so I think the Bulls. I mean, I don't really even want to talk about the Bulls, to be honest with you, but like, where are we thinking? Capture the flag or like playing? Where are they at right now?
I feel like they want to be capture the flag, but I think they're sort of in the play-in.
Yeah, like LaVine's been so good.
Yes,
they're a playing team right now.
I love Lonzo being back, you know, and having
shout out Lonzo.
Minutes. Yes, 10-0, yeah. So like, will they make a trade? Like, will they move Vooch and fall? Like, I guess it's possible. But I would say make the play-in.
Yeah,
I don't know. Vooch's been shooting the 3, but I'm glad he finally leaned into just being a stretch 5. Like, I get there's other things he can do on the offensive end, but like, I think his utility is being able to space the floor.
Yeah. Like, so, especially like if you're trying to like get moved to like another team is going to trade for you because of your ability to stretch the floor.
Exactly. No one's like, oh, his post-up game though. Wow.
Right. Oh man, I just can't wait to watch, 7 post-up attempts from Vooch a game. Like, what the hell?
Curry, just dump it down to Vooch. Like, exactly.
Like, no, it's not what we're doing this for. This relationship, one of us got something mixed up. Those like Craigslist dating memes where it's like, all right, you are not what your picture was. Yeah. Something's wrong here.
You walking, huh? Got the Scooby-Doo kind of look on you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
LA Clippers. I think playoff contender, especially of the Magic and the Rockets playoff contender. They're gonna be interesting to see once like Kawhi really gets back into the fold there. I mean, any objections? Like, I'm thinking I probably have more confidence in them over the Rockets, actually. Any objections there?
No. I think that all three teams are very similar. Like defense is their strength, and the offense is varying levels of it works. Orlando to like okay, Clippers like James Harden, Kawhi,
Norman
some
Powell
shots going down. Norman Powell big. Should have started with him. Yeah. Who had a big game just this past week? Amir Coffey. Like maybe he got a career night out of him. Like yeah.
So the Clippers actually kind of depends. It's really the Kawhi variable, honestly. Like if Kawhi is back, if he eventually rounds into form from last season, then they're like pretty comfortably up here.
Yeah.
Because Kawhi Leonard last year was a top 10 player, and you got a healthy regular season out of him. He just couldn't play in the playoffs. Now, if you don't get that version of Kawhi, then they're pretty firmly behind Houston, maybe even down here. But I think for right now, this is the sweet spot for them.
Makes sense to me. I'm with that. Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves. Corbin, what are we thinking?
Sheesh. That's tough. Okay. That's tough. I would put them. Maybe this is a hot take. I don't think it really is, but it's kind of relative to my expectations. I'd put them ahead of Orlando at playoff contenders. I just don't see this team and think, they could win a title as currently.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things would have to go right. Mike Conley discovers the fountain of youth for the rest of the year. Gobert, I don't know, just plays better. Plays more like last year, not like 2 years ago for Minnesota. Julius Randle turns into someone else. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I feel like I don't know if I could say they're title threats. I mean, in theory, they are. But what do you think about that, Sean? Is that a hot take or?
So, no, I don't think it's a hot take. I do have them above the Rockets. I can understand, like, the ordering of, like, Clippers, T-Wolves, or Magic, T-Wolves, etc. I kind of think of it like this. If we're talking about most likely to win a title, kind of to your credit, I think Clippers, in a best case scenario, I think it's more likely that the Clippers have this miraculous run than it is Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah,
it doesn't go supernova.
Kawhi gets back to a top 10 player. Like I said, we're having a conversation about them being here.
That is true. That is true. That is true. I just feel like Kawhi, we haven't seen as much of him. So like, even we saw a week, like 2 game. I think I only saw 1 game. I don't know if he played 2 and I missed it. But like, I
think he played 2.
I thought that his burst around he played 2. Okay, so like getting back. I mean, who knows? He can heat up in a hurry. He can get back to that. I imagine he's done the return from injury thing before. But like, that would be the one thing I'm wary of. With like, I don't know. I can see what you mean. So I guess I'll lean for that for sure.
Randall, Gobert, McDaniel spacing got Ant frustrated. Dog, find a number one option that has worse front court spacing than Anthony Edwards does. It's absurd.
Yeah.
We're gonna blow through a couple teams here. Kind of the ones that like I think are obvious, like no does. I think really quickly, I'm assuming you would agree. Cleveland, OKC, Boston, all tier 1 title favorites, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any order for those 3?
What
would your order be?
Cleveland, OKC, Boston, probably. I don't know if that's like not confirmation bias, but just recency bias rather that I have them there. But like they've just been playing better. Like yeah. Although you know what? No, I'm gonna change it, Sean. I'm gonna put Cleveland. I don't know. I was gonna say Boston, Cleveland, OKC because I still think at the end I see Boston.
Fair.
Like as good as Cleveland's been, but I don't know.
I forgot this is a Lakers pod, so I had to appease Laker fans for a sec. All right, there we go.
I like that.
Laker fans today
capture the flag. I think the best place for Boston is purgatory. Put them in play-in next to Miami.
right. We want them in purgatory. You're right.
You ain't getting Cooper. Yeah, come on now.
Cooper. You're gonna be the 10th seed and like it.
Oh man.
All right. Philly sucks because it's injuries, really. So like for that reason, they're probably playing, but like they're better than Miami, probably. Right.
Yeah, I mean, Paul George has kind of regressed in my opinion. At least
PG sucks.
Yeah, and that's kind of a big guy. And contract stinks because if not, you're hoping for Embiid not to be hobbled and then Tyrese Maxey to go crazy. because he's showing up for the podcast, but I don't know if the games really come together consistently. But yeah, I like it. I like him over Miami for sure.
Respect Paul George's podcasting game, man. Just never would have imagined that a $212 million basketball player would be better at podcasting than the actual sport he gets paid to play.
Yeah, it's like he's a podcaster who dabbles in basketball, which shout out to him.
Right.
I love that.
Basketball is my side hustle. I do
just get, passive income.
Right. Podcast P is better than playoff P. Yeah, basically. Atlanta and San Antonio, the chat. Actually, I would kind of group Detroit in this conversation too. I think they're all pretty comfortably can make the play-in. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're all really really fun watches too. This is how I would rank them. Let me know if you have any objections there, but this is how I would rank those three personally.
I think that's perfect. I really have Detroit's been on a tear. Miami, It's a tight group, but Miami's been the worst of that group. So no, I think that's great.
Yeah. All right, Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks. A very, very weird season. They started off 2-7 or something ridiculous.
That was a 2-9 at one point. Something wild. Yeah, it was 2-7. It was something lopsided. A little to a lot. Yeah.
They get hot at the right time in the in-season tournament. They win that, pick up a lot of momentum. And I'm not saying the momentum's kind of falling off, but I do think the hype has kind of worn off a little bit with the now I can't think, with the Milwaukee Bucks. Sorry. I think they're playoff contenders. I can't feasibly buy in on this team being a title threat. Now, at the same time, it is Giannis and Dame. So I guess technically I can squint, but I don't know. I'm going to leave this one up to you, Corbin. Where are we thinking here?
I would put them ahead of the Clippers because of the East. Milwaukee looks up and they see Cleveland and Boston. If Cleveland and Boston play each other at any point, however, whether Boston drops, whatever the case may be in a second round matchup, and Milwaukee kind of gets lucky with the way the seeding falls, then boom, all of a sudden they're in the conference finals against one of those two teams. So that's why I say that. Although I guess they are looking at Orlando. So
yeah,
I think that's about fair. Those two right there for playoff contenders, the two title contenders right above them, and that's it for the East, really.
Really fast. I'm also gonna quickly slap Phoenix and can make the play-in. They just gotta show me. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I'm at.
Agree.
The Lakers.
It's tough. I mean, I guess it's not really tough. I would say playoff contenders. Although the last
it's really where.
Yeah.
So this is how I'm viewing these West teams, because I'm personally comparing them to Houston. And what I mean by that is, do I take you over Houston? Do I view you as a better team than Houston in a playoff series? And my answer in a 7-game playoff series is the Lakers, right? And that could be different. I'm curious what your thoughts are, but I would take LA in 5 or 6 in a playoff series against Houston.
That's tough for me. I want to say yes, but I think Houston's a matchup problem for this current iteration of the Lakers. The athleticism in terms, especially in the backcourt, the fact that you have Man Thompson, we can have it in the front court. AD can't be everywhere. Obviously, you have Fred VanVleet who can get hot. Jalen Green has great games in the backcourt for the Lakers defensively. It was super great. I feel like you're right. Experience probably wins out on that. At least that's the hope. I just like the Rockets matchup wise have been just better athletically. And if they make it a rock fight, can LA consistently score? And I honestly have kind of stuttering to answer that question.
So let me ask you this. Better chance to win a title, LA or Minnesota?
Ooh.
I think LA.
Gotta go Minnesota. You think LA? Minnesota fell that bad.
Bron AD.
That's true. They've shown that. That's true. I'm in my head. I can't fight the fact that Minnesota was just in the Western Conference Finals, but I have to remind myself it's not the same team, and so that's where I go back and forth.
So I like this personally. because you got the two East teams grouped together. You get the two LA teams kind of grouped together.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that. I like that.
And actually, now that you say it, reasons kind of popping in for me. Like, yeah, Lakers do have the duo that still can't be stopped, and they're both rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sacramento. I think Sacramento's played really well recently, enough to where you can even argue Sacramento's like right behind Houston. I do understand an argument to put Sacramento like with Phoenix though. So Corbin, I'm going to put this one on you.
Oh man, don't do that. No, I probably want to put them with Phoenix. I don't know. You know what? Let's put them behind Houston. Why not? They've been more consistent recently. Yeah, because in my mind, like I'm still wondering is how teams kind of, especially teams that are like kind of go drifting. You fire Mike Brown, you bring in Doug Christie, you have that like burst of like inertia because like okay, now we're moving, now we're kind of stringing together some games. But at the same time, like they've done this for a stretch now that I can kind of go with it. So yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. All right, cool. Denver. What are you thinking here, man?
Sheesh. Title threats?
That's where I was thinking personally. That might be a hot take to Laker fans in here, but I would personally put Denver in title threats.
Yeah, I lean that way. I guess I use the same reasoning that we just did about AD and LeBron. Like they still have Jokic and Murray, and yes,
Jokic
Murray isn't the same Murray, but he never is until he plays the Lakers. Huh?
I was gonna say, and Jokic.
Jokic easily. I didn't even
the best player in the league.
He can touch out for a reason. Exactly. No, like there's nothing to be said. Oh, also let's not forget Russell Westbrook.
They don't guard or shoot. They don't guard or shoot threes. I get the skepticism, and maybe this is like Laker PTSD. I don't think it matters, bro. I don't think it matters. I'm not gonna lie.
Their shooting's not great, but I do feel that they have increased their pace. I feel like in the half-court Jokic, they're still dangerous. They're more creative in terms of their cutting and stuff. Their spacing is an issue. My question is, would it be an issue with the Lakers, whose spacing is also like suspect? I don't know. Jokic is just a monster, and I think that they've been gelling a lot better. And Aaron Gordon's not even like he's been injured still. Yeah.
Yeah, I got LA. I mean, I'm sorry, I got Denver. I got Denver here as well.
Yeah.
I think they'll be in the back end of this group though, actually.
Mm-hmm. But right there, I think we'll bring up
Dallas. I have Dallas top of title threats. They don't look too hot in the standings right now, but like they are just ravaged with injuries.
No starting backcourt.
No, their starting backcourt is just gone right now. I think Luka is Gaffer now. I think Luka's actually starting to get a little underrated. To where like his actual impact, I think Luka's starting to get a little underrated. Like he's not, in my opinion, the best on-ball player in the league. Like Shea is spectacular, but if you said like if you asked me to pick any ball dominant player in the league, I'm taking Luka. He's the best playmaker, non-Jokic, and he's a crazy good scorer. And then you also have Kyrie. So I have Dallas at the top of this tier.
Same.
Indiana. What are you thinking here?
I mean, I guess I put them ahead of Sacramento.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't think that highly of them. I mean, they're when they're pushing pace, and Halliburton's gotten better than his horrific start to the season. But like, yeah, there's not a whole lot to say. Indiana's kind of just there. They're good for the East, and I think they're a decent team altogether. But I like everyone else above them pretty easily.
Golden State, I think playing, it just depends on where. I'm out
in between Phoenix and San Antonio. You like?
Sure. I'm out on Golden State.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're still trying to, Okay, is there anything they can do, like, in this, before this trade deadline? Like, if they were to get, I'm just throwing out names. I would be Solero Markin, and I think that ship has sailed. But is there anyone out there right now currently available you think if they went to the Warriors? Jimmy Butler. Like, I don't think that happens. But if it did, would that change your view in like a radical way?
Not really. Because I think what Jimmy does great in a regular season standpoint would have really helped them. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this might sound absurd, but for what the Warriors actually need, I think Brandon Ingram's a better fit.
Okay.
Like, to go get a dude that could just, like, score and create and, like, not have to worry about the other stuff. He would just be, like, Dollar Tree KD. He'd be Dollar Tree KD for them.
Yeah.
In terms of, look, we're gonna run you off of actions. We're gonna let you sub-create a little bit. Like, that'll be me. But I don't know.
Yeah. No, I like that. I was gonna say it's basically like a better version of what they traded for Shooter for. Like, we know you don't fit our system. Just be good at like what it is that you're good at. Shooter hasn't really done that, but the hope that Ingram could. Yeah, I get that.
New York, Memphis. So this is where I'm at. I'm curious what you think. That's how I would place them. If you feel differently, I would love to hear your thoughts. That's kind of how I feel about both of those teams right now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I feel like I almost want to put, again, I'm taking the East in consideration. I almost want to put the Knicks in between Dallas and the Grizzlies, but I think you got it right. I think this is just me kind of being contrarian. Yeah, I think this makes sense.
Knicks above Nuggets. Only reason why I had the Knicks behind Denver right now is because like they have just not looked impressive at all in their games against like top competition. And that's it's just sticking out like a sore thumb right now for me, man. Like thinking about New York.
People I think have come to the Brunson cat action too. Like that was working real well early, and I think it's like, okay, we kind of see what we can do here. Now that being said, Mitchell Robinson still has been out. But at a certain point, do you consider that he's just, I mean, like, he's probably come back, like, I mean, last I heard, like, around January, February, at least that's what I had, like, read. So, like, if he comes in, does that make them that much different? But then he's missed, the whole year up to this point, gelling, like, putting him in. I think I like them there. I could see New York above Denver, especially considering, again, the Eastern Conference. I like where they are.
All right. If we were to make another tier, I would kind of like put like these teams right here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like Clippers forward in between title threats and playoff contenders personally. But overall, I do feel pretty good about this. Do you have any objections about what we came up with?
I think it's pretty solid. Like, yeah. I almost, now that I'm looking at it, I almost want to like flip Miami and Chicago, but that's the totally like abstract kind of one there. But no, I think there's a good solid list. Of course, there's a few you could always quibble on, but like in general, this is solid to me.
There should be an uncertainty rank, in my opinion. I get it. Who is your dark horse, Corbin? Who's your dark horse? If you had to like pick a dark horse, yeah.
I mean, it's coming from title threats. I don't know if it's a dark horse, but I mean, I could, unless you would pick someone from playoff contenders. If I'm picking from title threats, I really like Dallas. I really think that when they get it together, when they get the backcourt healthy, that they're going to be good. Like they have, in my mind, pretty good weapons everywhere, at least good enough of a supporting cast around the Luka and around the Kyrie. And Kyrie's the perfect Robin, if you will, to Luka's Batman. Like, I just feel like they work well together, and they've just been injured and trying to get a gel. Klay Thompson, like, come on now. He's been, if anything, I like that the absence of both Luka and Kyrie, like, you've seen Klay kind of bring the ball up more and do, like, different actions from, like, not the point guard spot, but basically initiating. And I'm like, wow, like, okay. Like, I think that they're just a well-rounded team, and all it takes, if we talk about people go off in the playoffs, like, Luka could do that. Yeah. Kyrie can do that. Like, I really like them.
All righty. Well, Corbin, before we let you go here, man, I do have one question for you. Do the Lakers make a trade at the deadline, yes or no? Or before the deadline?
Ooh, I think they have to. Like, I think Rob Lincoln did the whole 30 games or whatever. Like, I think if this was the Dorian Finney-Smith was the only move, I'll lose my mind. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna say I really do hope so. I know your next test might be more plugged in on that, but listen, please, like I am manifesting that right now.
There we go. All right. My guy, Corbin Ford. You'll be seeing a lot from him here in the future. Make sure you guys go follow him on Twitter at Corbin NBA. Corbin, my guy, thank you so much. Plug your podcast too. You have the name is escaping me now. I feel so bad.
Indie basketball. No,
yes, indie basketball.
All good. Indie basketball. Yes, I talk basketball. We kind of just cover everything. Kind of like indie music. It's kind of a random eclectic mix, but it's pretty catchy to get onto it. Me and my friend Conrad do that. So definitely make sure to check that out. Got some fun stuff coming down the pipeline. But yeah, at Corbin NBA on social media. Sean, really appreciate you. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, Corbin. Have a good one, bro. As that is a fantastic way to round out hour 2. And we're going to kick off hour number 3 of this LA charity stream to obviously help and support all the people that are going through tremendous hardship right now in the Southern California area. And we got to bring on my guy, our third and final guest, the man with the best intro in the game. I promise you I'm going to say this every single time that you come on, my man. Jovan Booha of The Athletic. Jovan, my guy, thank you so much for making the time out of your busy schedule. How are you doing, man?
Hanging in there, man. It's been a rough few days, a scary few days in LA. Never seen anything like this. I appreciate you putting this on and doing this for a good cause. So doing as well as possible right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, fire off any questions you guys have for Jovan while we are on. Again, Jovan taking great time out of his day to hop on and join us here. Let's cut right to it, man. Jared Vanderbilt returning here soon. What do you think that means for the Lakers and how that can potentially impact their decision making come the February 6th trade deadline?
I think it's huge. I think they've really missed Vando, and we always talk about the defensive side and some type of big wing who could defend multiple positions. And I think they partly have had that with Max Christie and Dorian Finney-Smith. But I think Jared Vanderbilt has a higher defensive upside than either one of those players defensively. So I think they could really use Vando. I think it gives them some optionality within the front court to potentially reduce the minutes of Rui, but also I think deeper in the rotation, Cam or Dalton. But I think you could just get funky with it. I assume that we will see Vando in there in some of those small front courts. So I could see something like Vando, LeBron, and DFS together. But I also think you could play him with the part of the OG starting lineup going back to post-trade deadline with Vando at the 3 or the 4 next to LeBron and AD and Austin out there. And then you could go with Max or whoever else in that 5th spot. So I think he just gives the Lakers a lot of optionality, a position that they've had, again, with Max and DFS. But I think Vando is just a higher caliber defender who can really plug a lot of holes. And I do expect him to be eased in. JJ talked about playing him 10 minutes a game to start, then kind of ramping that up to 15, 20. So I do think it's going to be a process where he doesn't just come out of the gates and immediately makes a giant impact, but progressively, as the Lakers are evaluating their roster over the next few weeks, I think his potential return at some point here within the next, I don't even want to put a timeline on it, but could be the next, I guess before the month's over. And if that happens, I think that's a big boost to the rotation.
Yeah. So I want to throw a scenario out at you. And I honestly don't know if there's enough time for this scenario to kind of pan out. But let's just say that Jared Vanderbilt comes back with enough time. Let's say we leave maybe 3 weeks before the deadline or whatever. And that's actually coming up already. So the time for this scenario to work is already running out. Vando comes back, and pretty quickly he makes a big impact for this team, right? And you have DFS, who's already kind of looked pretty good. I mean, outside maybe the first game he got here, but it's to the point where you have a lot of the Laker fan base begging JJ Redick, including myself, begging JJ Redick to just start Dorian Finney-Smith and replace the Rui Hachimura. Do you think there's a timeline to where Vando comes back, looks really, really good, DFS continues his positive play, and you get another D'Lo situation where it's like, look, these guys are playing so well, we are now more comfortable trading you, and that player being Rui Hachimura. Do you think that's a potential scenario here?
Yeah, I do. I made that point on my show, Buha's Block, with Jason Timpf, where it does feel like there are some parallels there with Rui and D'Lo in terms of like when they're playing well, they are certainly ceiling raisers for this Lakers group, and they almost look unbeat. Like when Rui's making shots as like the fourth or fifth option, I mean the Lakers look unbeatable, right, for stretches. But the floor is so low, and he doesn't necessarily contribute in other ways consistently enough that I think if you can get Vando back healthy, that trio of DFS, Vando, and Max, you should be able to get by on the wing and potentially flip Rui for a different position. And maybe it ends up also being a wing, but just a guy that's maybe a better defender, a bit more reliable. You could split that across a couple of positions potentially, depending on the salaries of, you could go get a backup big and then maybe another wing or more of a playmaking guard if they feel like they need that. So I think step one should be moving DFS into the starting lineup. I think that you look at the lineup data since he's arrived, you look at the way Rui's been trending down recently. I just think DFS is a natural fit and gives them sort of that it's not exactly the 2020 blueprint, but in terms of just putting two-way guys around LeBron and AD and Austin, like I really like that potential model as a starting and closing lineup. And then if Vando can come back, I think he plugs a lot of holes. I think he also potentially makes Gabe expendable if the Lakers would prefer to go that route of trading Gabe and keeping Rui. In either direction, I think like those seem to be the two guys most likely to be traded. Of course, the Lakers do value Rui, and he's someone that they've talked about as a longer term core piece. So I think the bar to trade him will be higher than it would be for, say, like Gabe. But Rui also has more value than Gabe. He's making more money than Gabe. So if it comes down to it, and Vando comes back and looks good, I think the Lakers got to figure that out quickly in terms of what's the next move and what are we willing to give up. Are we willing to attach a pick, or is it just we're putting the 2 second-round picks on the table? Like, what does that look like? But I think if the scenario you're laying out, and I could see it happening in terms of at least getting to that point of Vando looks good, and it looks like the wing rotation's a little bit different. At that point, Rui's more of a luxury than a necessity. And if he's not a necessity, I think you at least have to explore your options on the trade market.
So I do want to take it back to yesterday. Yesterday at practice, you were there at practice. Yeah. I saw your video. Can you just talk about like what the vibe and the energy was at practice yesterday? Because like JJ, obviously the video JJ happens, and it's hard to not get emotional watching the JJ video. And like, so the video, I don't think it was yours. I think it was JoJo's or something. It was somebody's video, but it was kind of hard to see the angle of JJ's face. Like you could hear his voice, like you could hear the cracks, or whatever. But like then there's a different angle. Might have been yours or somebody else's. But then you like get the front and like center angle of JJ, and you really see him like tear up and get emotional. It's like hard not to get emotional. Like I said, you see the videos of Austin comforting JJ and things of that nature. Like, what was just the vibe like at practice yesterday? And like, yeah, let's just start there.
Yeah, I mean, it was. It's hard to explain. I mean, I think you guys obviously saw the photos and the footage, but there was certainly an emotional weight in the building. And again, really, the only thing I could compare this to would be COVID, I guess. I wasn't there for Kobe's passing at the time. I was covering the Clippers, so I assumed that similar weight around that time. Obviously, I watched from afar, but really, the only thing I've been able to kind of compare this to is like COVID and just the madness of what was going on in the beginning of that before things got shut down. And I mean, just with JJ, it was like, the stuff that really got to me, being a father myself, it was, hearing like one of his sons did the sketch drawing for an art project. And that was hanging above their staircase. And it's like, no matter how much money he said they're going to be fine, that they're going to figure it out, like that they're going to be okay in the long run. but there are certain things that you have that are just priceless, and your memories and your photos and certain documents, or I'm sure, like he said, anything of value that they had in their previous house was in this new house. So I would assume JJ probably had a bunch of memorabilia of Duke jerseys and different jerseys of the places he played, and like signed stuff, and maybe stuff he got from a LeBron or a Kobe or whoever throughout the course of his career. Like that's stuff that you can't get back. So not to go on the tangent of like, rich guy loses their home, but I've seen a lot of that sort of pushback or like negativity. And it's just like no matter how much wealth you have, like losing your home is losing your home. And on top of it, there are just these things that are priceless. And hearing him talk about that, hearing like the sense of community that they had at the rec center, that the kid, his sons were playing there almost every day. They were excited to be coached by him. He was going to be able to make half the games and practices. Like now that rec center is gone, and they've been displaced. They're staying in a hotel now. So like, yes, of course, the recovery and whatnot is going to be an easier process for them than it might be for some other people. But still, like that experience is just horrible. And I really feel for him. I feel for everyone that's been affected by it. I know some people that have lost their homes, and it's just been a devastating week here in LA. And you really felt that in the building. And you also felt, Austin talked about it being a safe space and a sanctuary for the guys, and them kind of looking for that escape. And then they can't even really get it right now because they've now postponed 2 games, and who knows what's going to happen with Monday's game. Already they canceled practice for tomorrow. So they've had 2 get what you need days. So it's like, even for them trying to find that escape through basketball and whatnot, of course they could always go in the gym and get shots up and whatnot, but it's still, it's been tough all around. So just a really unfortunate situation.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't a way to describe it. Like you can't even say, I mean, you can. It just feels so cliche, like saying like thoughts and prayers and stuff. Like it's hard to like put it perfectly into words. And obviously, thoughts and prayers going out to JJ and everybody else affected by it. It's truly heartbreaking to see. Because like I said, I mean, almost everybody, especially here right now, and like in the Lakers space, like almost everybody knows somebody in LA. So it almost like hits close to home for everybody to a certain extent. And I will say this, man, especially like you have the Kobe stuff, the COVID stuff. LA does a great job with that community, man. Like they do, like in terms of like rallying behind each other, and I mean like the stream and just stuff in general that has been going on in support, trying to help the people out, has been really, really cool to see. And hopefully the Lakers and the Laker players and staff members are able to get like that sense of relief is the word, but like just to help get their minds off it for a little bit. You just saw JJ getting shots,
like a return to normalcy for a little bit.
Sure, yeah. What do you think is the most likely outcome? Like, I was pitching out ideas. I don't know how much longer they cancel games. Like I think if it really gets to a point, they like consider moving Laker homes games if they need to. What do you think is the most likely outcome from here?
It's tough because I thought they were going to be playing, like I thought right now I was going to be at Crypto.com Arena as recently as like yesterday afternoon. So like I got, this is just like a little inside basketball detail, but like an hour before the game got postponed, I got asked by the league to be the pool reporter for tonight's game. So like the league was operating, if there was any kind of concern or thought that the game was going to be postponed, like I doubt they asked me to be the pool reporter an hour before. So it felt like it was trending towards them playing, and then things got worse last night in terms of the Palisades fire continues to spread north, and it kind of got like a second gust of just kind of spreading, and then there's been some more fires. People, I mean, the worst part of this, or one of the worst parts, because there's many awful parts, but like people have been trying to start new fires, which is just like insane. And just like one of the worst things you could do is like people are already displaced and having to evacuate and dealing with all this. And then you have these people who are, for whatever reason, trying to cause more chaos. And that's just been kind of another thing that, you know, I'm just talking to different people of attempted fires in like it's like multiple places. It's not just like it's not like a 1 or 2 off. So that's been tough with this all, but I would assume like maybe at most probably Monday is like the final one that gets postponed. I think they're going to try and push through, but it's really unpredictable right now because it's also sort of like you have 20,000 fans in the building, and they're coming from all different parts of LA. Some are probably coming from even outside LA. And it's just, I think there's also a safety factor there that, you know, God forbid something happens close to the arena or whatever. And then it's just like, you kind of have this disaster brewing. So I think they're just trying to be cautious and sympathetic and empathetic to everything that's going on for everybody. And I'm sure there's some people right now, like, yeah, there's going to be Laker people who have tickets who like lost their homes. And like, that's just going to be kind of a tough thing to handle. So I would I think they will be back at some point this week. My guess would be they play Monday, but that was also the way it was looking for tonight. And then it got pushed back. So I think at most probably one more pushback. And then if it continues, then kind of to your point, I think they have to look at, do they play in like Las Vegas at like T-Mobile Arena or something, or in San Diego, or just somewhere else that is safe? That I don't know how they would handle the ticketing and all that stuff, but at some point I think that they have to resume. It's just a matter of where that's going to be and when. And for now, I think Monday is like tentative, but you know, we'll see. Yeah.
I got Legend sends a super chat. Legend asks, reports Rui not to be traded. Is it for leverage? I think the report that Legend's referring to is the Eric Pincus article, which, not to improperly like aggregated, Eric Pincus was basically just saying like, look, I don't think he gets traded unless for somebody that's like a big upgrade over Rui. I believe that's kind of the wording there.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that sentiment, or kind of what's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I've reported something similar, not in the exact words that Eric did, but I've said that they have an inner circle of Austin, Dalton, and Max of 3 guys in their mid to early 20s that they want to keep and build around and view as like the next era of Lakers basketball, as those 3 being part of it. And then looking at the next 4 contracts, that among that group of, at the time it was D'Lo still on the team, of Rui, D'Lo, Gabe, Vando, the guy that they liked the most of that group and viewed as a potential longer term piece was Rui. And the other 3 were far more expendable in their eyes. You know, Gabe obviously due to underperformance, D'Lo, I think, due to some overlap with Austin and some level of underperformance, and then also Vando just due to the recent injury history. So I think my read is that continues to be that, like, I don't think they want to trade Rui, I guess would be my answer to this. But I think if we're talking about a scenario where Dorian Finney-Smith has come in, he has, I think, met, if not slightly exceeded expectations. He's been a seamless fit. And then you also have Max playing the way that he's been playing, and you potentially have Vando coming back. Like, then I think Rui was needed more a few weeks ago than he currently or projects to be, I guess, closer to the deadline. So I still think if I had to pick between Gabe or Rui, who's more likely to be traded, I would lean toward Gabe. But I think depending on how the rotation and the health and all that stuff plays out the next few weeks, you could make a case that Gabe is potentially more useful from like a positional standpoint than where Rui's at. So it's not like a great answer, but I would still lean more toward Gabe being the one that gets moved. But I think they're going to progressively be more open to potentially trading Rui as they get closer to the deadline.
All right, guys, fire up any more questions you guys have for Jovan. Got like 5 more minutes. We'll let Jovan get out of here. Jovan, so one of the things that we've talked about since the summer is, you know, jokingly, I said when I had you on my power ranking show, said the Lakers have a 1.6% chance of winning a title. How differently do you feel about this team now with the DFS trade even, and compared to what you felt about this team heading into the season? Like, did your opinions think sway higher or lower? Do you think they can win? Their chances of winning have increased. So what are your thoughts on like where the current state of the team right now?
Yeah, well, I want to say the second time we spoke, or the most recent time we spoke since then, I think we bumped it up to a few percentage points, and that's kind of. I would say overall, I actually feel better and more optimistic about the Lakers. I think they've done a good job of withstanding some adversity throughout the season.
Yeah.
And I think that there's been some really encouraging stretches. Now, it really depends on like how you want to look at it, because I think that the two biggest things that you could point or poke a hole in rather are the point differential / the net rating, and them projecting as a below 500 team in both of those categories, and their record against teams above 500. And that's an important one for me, just in terms of like, you got to be able to beat the good teams, obviously, for you to go on a deep playoff run. However, I think we've seen some really good stretches on both sides of the ball. I think the defense has been progressively trending in the right direction. I think they've figured out the lineups, or getting closer to the lineups and the rotation that makes sense. Like there's better two-way play than there was earlier in the season. Like looking at a guy like Max, looking at adding a guy like DFS. I just think the projected rotation, I think, makes a lot more. Even Gabe, for as much flack as Gabe has gotten, like Gabe has been, had a rough game, first game back against Dallas, but overall, he's been shooting the ball much better. I think the defense has been pretty consistent for the most part. There's obviously a limitation there just because of his size and teams being able to pick on him in certain matchups. But I think overall, the Lakers have been at about, if not slightly ahead of where I thought they'd be at this point. Now, there's certainly, I think, work to be done. I think they have to make another move. I think JJ has to be not as dogmatic with the switching and just sort of being committed to that. And
yeah,
so certainly like there's areas of growth. I'm not saying that they're not a finished product. And if this is the finished version of them, then this is a group that probably loses in the first round as things are looking, or maybe wins one round. But I think if they can make the right trade between now and the February 6th trade deadline, JJ continues to grow as a coach, which, look, I mean, even the Dallas situation, like he was dealing with this before the game, and that we don't know, because I know some people have been critical of the game plan for that night and saying that it was like the worst or one of the worst game plans of the season. And it's like, this dude was dealing with his wife and his kids having to evacuate, them not being sure if they were going to have a home when he got back from Dallas. And like, there's no way to quantify like how that affects you. And I think he did a really good job of trying to push through that, and he didn't victimize himself. He didn't make it like, even post game, he just said like, I haven't checked my phone, I need to talk to my wife. He left it at that. But you don't know how much that affected that whole situation. So I kind of look at the Dallas loss in a different light now, of not just JJ, but like the players are wondering, is this going to spread? LeBron's out there in Brentwood, which has been in parts of Brentwood has had to evacuate, and they've been kind of close to the fires. So like, you just don't know like how much that was affecting and weighing on guys. And that was something that obviously we have more hindsight on. But I would say I'm just as optimistic as we were earlier in the season, if not slightly more, with the caveat that like, I think they have to make a second move. I think DFS has fit in well. It was a good move. It was a shrewd move. They didn't have to give up a first. But if that's the only move, then I think this team clearly has some limitations come playoff time.
All right. And then final question, assuming the Lakers make a move before the February 6th trade deadline, what is the biggest need you think for this Lakers team?
Yeah, so this is something I debated with Jason Timpf on my show, and we both targeted Bruce Brown as the player that we would both like the Lakers to try and go out and get, and probably center on some type of Rui deal. Okay. I would say I still think it's another rotation level reliable two-way wing, and if you have a core of DFS, Max, Vando, and Wing X, I really like that supporting cast around, because I'm really looking at it as like you got to plug in the pieces around LeBron, AD, and Austin. And to me, the two best pieces to put around those three guys are two-way wings. So if you have, of course, Vando has his offensive limitations, but I think, is clearly shown to be like a second team all defense caliber defender when he's right. And if you get that guy back and you get in another wing and you still have Max in DFS, I just like the optionality there of you can go bigger, you can go smaller, and you can just kind of mix and match the pieces around them. I know the backup big man thing is something that people have been hammering. My one pushback with that is I just don't, outside of a Walker Kessler, and I think overall, if I'm probably going to do a ranking of my trade targets, and I probably would put Walker Kessler number one, largely due to his contract and his age and just I think the long-term fit. But outside of a Walker Kessler, like most of the big men that the Lakers have been linked to, there's a lot of question marks with them in terms of playoff viability, how much JJ would trust them, like what their role would exactly be. So if you only get one more swing, maybe you could do a Bruce Brown, Jakob Poeltl. I've been playing with the trade machine. Like you could do Gabe, Rui, and Vando for those two, and maybe you get your big man, you get your wing, and you move forward. But outside of something like that, I think if you get one more crack at it, I still think the perimeter group could be a little bit better. It's still probably the weak spot on the team. And then I think a secondary concern would obviously be the backup big man spot or another playmaker. And I think Austin's grown. LeBron has continued to be LeBron. And so that maybe that's not as much of a concern. But I mean, really, I think they have three concerns. I just don't think you're going to be able to satisfy all three of them. It's probably two at most. And if I had to prioritize them, I'd probably go wing and then a better backup five.
Yeah, I understand it. Jackson says, this isn't a question, but I want to just give you all your flowers. You're my favorite sources for Lakers media. I appreciate what y'all do for the Lakers community. Well, Jovan, that's a great note to leave you. Yeah, appreciate it, Jackson. That's a great note to leave it off on for Jovan. Jovan, thanks so much for hopping on with me, bro.
Yes,
One
sir.
of the best
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I'll have to have you on my show very soon. Let's do an episode.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, bro, and stay safe, bro.
Thanks, everyone in the chat. Appreciate you all watching.
All right. Jovan Buha of The Athletic hopping in with us. I'm going to take these headphones off. Starting to get a headache. We are 2.5 hours deep. I have half a can of Celsius left. So basically that means we can go as long as you guys want to go. So for our three amazing guests that we've had, my guy Anthony Irwin, my guy Corbin Ford, and then Jovan Buha. Let's get a like spike right quick here. Let's get a like spike. We're also nearly at our goal of 200 likes on the stream. So we're almost there. So if you haven't already, what are you doing? Hit that like spike. I mean, hit that like. Who's next on the guest list? That is it on the guest side. That is it on the guest side. So my initial plan was, like I said, it was a 3-hour stream. So my initial plan was to kind of break it up. And I was going to lead off with Anthony. I was going to then segue into Corbin. The hope and the plan was to go from Corbin to Jovan, because Jovan had a specific time slot that we had to hit. And then the plan was to kind of end with a Trevor appearance. Was able to get that to happen, though. But all good. Tried to make it. Had some family stuff. Completely understand. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun doing stuff like this, man. It really, really is. It really, really is just to sit back, talk ball, to kind of get your mind off of some stuff here for a sec. So we're going to treat the next 30 minutes plus as an AMA. I'll probably do the role players thing here in a sec. This is kind of my thoughts on everything, because, a lot of it, wanting to get the people's thoughts in. So it is interesting, right? It is interesting. And really quick, let's get an update on the Red Cross thing. Hold on one sec. We have raised already we've raised $300 on the Red Cross link. Appreciate you guys so much. The link, if you're on YouTube, is pinned in the chat. Any donation would be greatly appreciated. This is, like I said, a 3-hour, might be longer. This is a 3-hour charity stream to support the people that are going through the tragedies in Los Angeles currently. And then again, any super chat as well also goes to supporting the people in LA as well. Also, get your question automatically answered live on stream. Unless it's one I don't understand, like the Santiago super chat, much appreciated, by the way. I just have no clue what you were trying to relay in your super chat. You don't have to send another one, but there's an actual message. I would greatly appreciate it if you would explain it, because I had no clue what you were trying to relay there. Alonzo or Bruce Brown, if both are healthy. We were on a time crunch, so I couldn't really relay this. I am not on the Bruce Brown train personally. I'm not on the Bruce Brown train. I haven't asked around what they think the market would be for a Bruce Brown. Essentially what I'm thinking is if you have to give up serious draft compensation for Bruce Brown, anything more, and for sure anything more than what you gave up for Dorian Finney-Smith, if you have to give up anything more than that, it's an automatic non-starter for me. He legitimately has not been good in 2 years, and not even he has been good since a 16-game sample size, honestly. And we also have to account for the fact too, which is something that I talked about, something that both Jovan and Anthony Irwin, apologies, have kind of talked about, which is, the Lakers aren't really that interested in moving him unless it's an upgrade for him. And I don't think we can be serious here and say that Bruce Brown is an upgrade over Rui Hachimura. I don't think that's the case. I think at worst, they're comparable. And if that's the case, then there's no way that deal gets done. And I would even argue that I still think Rui is a better player than Bruce Brown. Like I said, we just got a 16-game sample of Bruce Brown being pretty good. And so much of his variant, so much of his impact comes from can he freaking hit a shot, because he's not the level defender that Vando is, to where you can feasibly look at Vando and say, all right, the shot's not falling tonight, but you are such a good defender. I can turn a blind eye. I think I got the saying right. I can look away and ignore you not being a good offensive player. Where with Bruce Brown, it's got to be, okay, you're a good defensive player. It's almost like how people feel about Gabe, honestly. I feel like that's a really comparable situation. It's how people feel about Gabe. Gabe is a good defender, very good defender. Is he a good enough defender to where you can look at Gabe and completely ignore what he does offensively, which is nothing? No, he's not. That's why every single Laker fan can't stand Gabe Vincent, because he's such a he's nothing on offense, basically. He gives you no offensive impact, and he's a good defender, yeah, but all we're thinking about is the fact that you're nothing on offense. You're not Vando defensively. It's kind of the point there. And even then, Vando's still going to have his naysayers and his critics at the he's got his naysayers and his critics, but at the very least, if you have a Dallas game like it was back in March of 2023, or if you have a Golden State game 1, we can ignore the fact that you have 4 points if you're having that level of defensive impact, which neither Gabe or Bruce Brown can hit. So, sorry for the rant there on Bruce Brown, but I am personally out on Bruce Brown. And the salary would take to get there. Let me see really, really quickly. Bruce Brown is at $23 million, I think. Yeah, Bruce Brown's at 23. All right. So when we're making a deal for Bruce Brown, How do we get to $23 million without trading Rui Hachimura? Because they're not trading Rui for Bruce Brown. If they trade Rui for Bruce Brown, I'm going to be pissed. You're getting the worst player in the deal. Like, you're just getting the worst player in the deal. So what, are you doing Gabe and Vando for Bruce Brown? That doesn't even work. You need Gabe, Vando, and maybe another player because you can't take back more. If I'm like understanding the salaries cap well enough. Tony Vega, if you're in the chat, I would appreciate your cap knowledge. Because like I said, you're not trading Rui. You're not trading Rui. So we are looking at Gabe and Vando. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Jared Vanderbilt's not getting traded. I'll talk about Lonzo in a sec. Jared Vanderbilt's not getting traded. And the reason why he's not getting traded really is kind of like a double-edged sword, right? If Vando comes back and is terrible, then it's going to be, one, he's been bad, and two, he has like 4 or 3 years after this year left on his deal, including a player option. Why do we want him if we're the opposing team? And then if it's an opposing team, Vando does great. Okay, why are we trading Vando? We just want to keep him at that point. And again, he's still injury prone at the end of the day, and he has 3 years left after this year. That's not appealing to anybody. I should have done the daggone bet with Vando. That honestly should have been the bet. Should have been Vando. I bet they don't trade Vando into the jersey. They're not trading him. So you look at that, and we already addressed that they're not trading Rui unless it's for an upgrade. Okay, you're not trading Austin. You're not trading DFS. So what, we're doing Gabe, Max, and like JHS? I don't think you're trading Max either. So I personally don't see how you get to a Bruce Brown trade personally. With it being incredibly unlikely that they trade Rui, I just don't see financially. I just don't see how you get to a Bruce Brown trade. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about here. There is a rumor that they want to do Gabe and Rui for Brown to cut salaries for 2 seconds. Unless you're getting 2023 Bruce Brown, you lose that deal. Unless you get 2023 Bruce Brown and Vando is fully healthy and back to like playing how he was playing. That's what it would take. And Orange Sunset, I can tell you right now, Brooklyn wants 2 first-round picks. I don't know if that's report. I'm reporting it then. Hell. Brooklyn wants 2 first-round picks for Cam Johnson. That's the starter. Brooklyn wants 2 first-round picks for Cam Johnson. Now, if you want to do that, so then that gets nasty because then essentially the deal is, in terms of assets going out for the ultimate asset back, you have just traded Rui, Gabe, and Bruce Brown by getting him, I guess, for Cam Johnson? No. Like, Tony, because of the cap, right? The Lakers, they can trade. Can they do? They can't take back salary. They can't take back more salary because they're first tier, right? That's how that works. I think I got that right. So for me, what I think of, guys, I actually do. The more and more I think about it, I do kind of like think about where Anthony was coming from at the top of the show. That it's going to be somebody that we aren't really thinking about. And that does kind of bring me back to the 2023 deadline, where I don't think anybody was talking about Rui Hachimura at that time. And then out of nowhere, they get a Rui deal done. It, like, all the names that we've been talking about for the past month, I don't think are actually happening. Cam Johnson's not happening unless Rob Pelinka wakes up tomorrow and says, look, we'll give you the 2 first. Okay. Unless that happens, you're not getting Cam Johnson. Walker Kessler. I don't think I'm not. I know Anthony kind of said, that it's not happening. Like Anthony kind of put a definitive no on it. I'm not even going to put a definitive no on it, but what I will say is I don't think a Walker Kessler deal happens unless you get fleeced. Right? Walker for 1 first, I think LA does it. I mean, yeah, but I think every team in the league hops on Walker Kessler if it was only for 1 first. And I think the Lakers would trade for Walker Kessler in the summer if it could have only been for 1 first. I mean, who else have we been talking about? Bruce Brown. I don't think Bruce Brown's happening. Just like logically, I don't think it happens because I think you're going to need Ruby's contract. And like I said, I would actually be pissed off if they traded Ruby for Bruce Brown. Not because of me owing somebody a jersey, because of I think they got worse. Unless Vando is Vando again. Then maybe things get a little bit interesting. But, I mean, unless Vando's Vando and Bruce Brown returns to 2023 form. Unless those 2 things happen, you get worse, in my opinion. Lonzo / Ayo Dosunmu. Let me look at, like, Ayo's data. And let me look at his contract right quick. Ayo Dosunmu's data and his contract. So I haven't watched much Bulls basketball this season, but I remember watching Ayo's film in the summer and being intrigued. I do remember being intrigued by Ayo. He's making $7 million. Next year's the last year of his deal. He'll be $7.5 million. Let's see if we can pull up some data here right quick. This season, if you look at EPM, this is his worst defensive season of his career. And maybe it's just an outlier, but the previous 2 seasons, he was actually like relatively fine defensively. Last season, like impact wise, was the best year of his career. And I feel like that kind of tracked. 3 balls and falling at the rate it was last year. Although he is getting to the rim a lot more this season. Let's pull up B-ball index. And typically, I will say this. Typically, when you see a guy playing him as a small, they're playing him as a 3 this year. They do have a lot of guards. So I will say this immediately without even like watching any film on Ayo. I could see Ayo go to a situation where it is not flooded at that position, at the very same position that he's playing. And he looks a little bit better. Because you got to think, man, it is flooded in their guard room right now. Like, it's flooded. Lonzo's back. You got Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Javon Carter. All right, he wasn't even like a big rotation player, so we can scratch that. But Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Lonzo, and you, like, LaVine kind of eats us some guard minutes. B-ball index. He grades out well as a finisher for the most part. Doesn't draw fouls really well, but grades out well as a finisher for the most part. Okay, he's a point of attack guy. He gets a lot of like tough matchups. He's in the 90. He gets an A grade for matchup difficulty. Let me see. Does not grade out well as a help defender at all. Grades out really well as like a mid-range creator, like A- floater talent. B+ mid-range talent, B+ mid-range pull-up talent. I'm just like rolling off numbers here from B-ball index. Again, the 3-ball isn't falling as much this season. Grades out really well as a playmaker, actually. Wow. Grades out really, really well as a playmaker. Defensive LeBron, again, just not a good year. I want to go back to last year. Let's go back to last year. Can we do that? Let's look at him last year. Let's look at Ayo Dosunmu from last season. Because like I said, I do remember watching Ayo's tape in the summer and be like, okay, this guy's pretty all right. He can hoop. Again, A matchup difficulty. And hold on, while I'm looking at that, let me look at his like numbers from last season. So Ayo last season, 12.2 points, 60.3% true shooting percentage, shot 40.3% from three. Not too bad. Let me pull up Synergy. Pull up Synergy. Why pull up Synergy? Well, and you know what? Instead of me just like yapping, let's pull up. Let me show my screen. Let me share the screen. Share with you guys what I'm looking at here. Have to ask the important question with the Bulls if you want to trade them. I don't see why not, honestly. Like, is it clear that they're going to extend him? Because if not, like, yeah, well, I mean, you could. Last year, he showed way more defensive versatility. Last season, way more defensive versatility. Graded out pretty all right as a finisher. Again, a pretty bad help defender. I think that's something that's decently consistent with what we've seen so far. One-on-one talent. Again, this matches. Good floater, good mid-range game. Shot, but the difference is he was shooting the three ball way better last season, and you could tell that with the impact. Good isolation defender last season. I forgot what it looked like this season. And okay, so just simply based off the data, kind of what I'm gathering is he's a defensive LeBron. He did not grade out well last season. Not a good defensive playmaker either, which sucks. So kind of what I'm gathering here with Ayo, really quickly, what's his perimeter isolation stuff this year? Really fast. Again, A- perimeter isolation defender, B- off ball chaser. So let me pull up Synergy. Ayo. Ayo Dosunmu. Really good pick and roll scorer. Doesn't get a lot of opportunities to do so. But in general, good pick and roll operator. Am I on playback? No, we're on YouTube. Los Angeles Lakers Network YouTube channel. Like I said, doing a 3-hour charity stream, raising money for the people that are affected with the LA fires. Super chats greatly appreciated. We've now crossed the $300 threshold on our on a Red Cross link, and then you account for the super chats and whatever else the stream is going to make as well. This season, wow, he's finishing really well at the rim. Again, he has a good floater, not shooting. I don't know if is it an opportunity thing? I mean, look at last season. He's just like not taking like jump shots then, or like off the dribble. He was a damn near elite. He was damn near an elite catch and shoot 3-point shooter last season though. He shot 40% on catch and shoot threes, 41% on contested catch and shoot threes, even 42% on pull up threes. Again, good finisher. Again, good in ball screens last season. The volume was a lot higher, too. The volume was a lot higher. He was actually a pretty good pick and roll operator. I'll dive in here. I'll do this. I'll dive into some Ayo film. At the very least, I could say I'm like kind of intrigued. It's a good contract. Hold on, I just had it pulled up. Like, it's a good contract. It's $7 million. You could get to that like pretty easily. As a matter of fact, like Gabe for Io, like they're a first tier apron team though. They're a first apron team. So let's see. Io to LA. Let's see. Hold on. Oh no, you can get that off. You can get that off. You shed some salary in the process. And at the very least, I think Io is a better offensive player than Gabe is for sure. I think from at the very least, I think Gabe is a better defender, but I do want to watch it for myself though. I do want to watch it for myself. And like Tony makes a good point. It is good max insurance. Because now if you're a guard room, if your team is now Io, Austin, Max as your backcourt, I feel all right. And at the very least, I think Io could take some touches and like give Austin a breather at the very least when he needs one. I'm not opposed. I want to watch the film. I might do that tonight. To be honest with you, I'm going to be up now because it's Celsius that I will finish. Why not throw in Lonzo? I mean, because you're throwing in Lonzo. First off, Lonzo would be the guy I throw in. I would throw in Vuce if you are going that route. I would just throw in Vucevic. But then now to get the deal done, you need to throw in Rui. You would have to. And I'm not going to lie. I don't love this. Because Vooch just isn't it, man. He's not it. I'm sorry. Rui, Gabe, second rounders, and a first for Lonzo and Io. I'm not doing that, man. I don't know. Like, the thing is, at the end of the day, F what I think, right? I feel really strongly that the Lakers don't do this deal. Because, again, I'm operating under the mindset like it would have to be a real upgrade over Rui Hachimura. And when I say that, I think we had to look at it from the Lakers lens, right? You have to look at this from the Lakers lens. A team that consistently tells us that they value Rui Hachimura. They've told us this damn near since JJ Redick's press conference. They've told us this. They trade Rui, it's got to be a upgrade that floors the Lakers. And even if you are the biggest Nikola Vucevic fan on the planet, or even if you are the biggest Rui Hachimura fan on the planet, my bad, backtrack. Or if you are the biggest Rui Hachimura hater on the planet, I don't think you can look at that deal from a Lakers front office standpoint and say, oh yeah, easily an upgrade. That's the kind of deal it's going to take to trade Rui. That's the kind of deal it's going to take to get Rui. Have we talked about? Did we talk about Cam Johnson yet? Yes, and to briefly reiterate what was kind of the discussion about Cam Johnson, the discussion is, look, sorry, I was reading a text. Cam Johnson, I did hear this. Look, Cam Johnson, it's 2 first-round picks. Rob did ask about Cam Johnson when the DFS trade was made, and Brook looks like 2 firsts. And I can even understand why Rob kind of just walked away and said, you know what, we'll just go with DFS and call it a day. I can't even get behind that. I can. And I'm a big Cam Johnson fan. I think he's playing exceptional basketball this season. I'm actually fearful that a team like OKC that has just 2 second-round picks to just throw at Brooklyn, not 2 seconds, 2 firsts to just throw at Brooklyn. I'm very afraid that OKC does something like that. But like that's what it was. That's what it would take. Brooklyn wants 2 first-round picks right now. And I could even see Brooklyn be stubborn. I'm not saying they should do this, but I can see a path to where Brooklyn is incredibly stubborn about this and they like carry Cam Johnson into the summer. Not saying that's the right thing to do, but I think that can happen. If I throw a trade at you, yes, I do. I'm going to come back to that. There's another comment. Rank Rui among contenders. Who is Rui better? Who's Rui better? What do you mean? What do you mean really quickly? And yes, quick reminder for the Red Cross link above. That's what the stream is for. Really, really appreciate all the donations we've already gotten. Like I said, Super Chats as well also contribute to that. So if you guys are in Super Chats, easiest way to make sure you guys get your question answered live on stream and goes to support the people in Southern California. Again, hitting home for a lot of people right now. Would a healthy Lonzo be a Rui upgrade? The thing about like a healthy Lonzo is it sounds amazing. Like if you go back to 2021 Lonzo, which is the last time he was healthy, which is the last time we saw him on like a basketball floor, like consistently. That player, yeah, I would say that because that was the year you really saw Lonzo like put it all together. He was this established defender, this really, really, really good passer, and then he just happened to turn into like a 38% 3-point shooter that season. Like, hold on, wait, 20. I sold him short. He happened to turn into a 42% 3-point shooter that season. Like, it's either that year or his last year in New Orleans. But those 2 seasons from Lonzo, bro, he was really putting it all together. He was having the best 2-year stretch of his career. 2021 in New Orleans, 14.6 points, 55% true shooting, 5.7 assists, only 2 turnovers a game, shooting 38% from 3. Was a plus 1.5 offensive EPM, plus 0.7 defensive EPM. Had a really, really good season. Then the next year on a contending Bulls team for 40 games, 42% from 3, 5.1 assists, 13 points a game, 57.9% true shooting percentage. I still think he's a pretty good defender. Like, I think this year he grades out, decently well, like analytically speaking. But again, it's just one of those things, man, where I think the idea of Lonzo, especially the idea of healthy Lonzo, it's so much better than the actual version of Lonzo, I think. But to answer the question, yes. To answer the question, if you somehow got 2021 Lonzo Ball, which is 4 years from now, 4 years ago at this point, but if you somehow got that Lonzo back, then sure. He's an upgrade over Rui. Sure. Look at Boston, OKC, Dallas, Cavs role players. Is Rui better? Oh, is Rui better than any of those? All right. This will be a fun exercise. And then I didn't forget about the trade proposal. We'll get an end off of that. So this is Dallas. All right, so let's do this. Oh wow, the Ravens are putting belt to ass. Glad the Chargers aren't the only team that got mollywop today. That's fantastic. Dallas, Cavs, Celtics. Cool. All right, let's start with OKC. Start with OKC and like the top 12 or whatever, right? So obviously no. Chet's not even on here, but Chet no. Is Rui better than Case and Wallace? Come back. I want to lean though. I think Rui does more offensively, but Kaysen's such a good defender. We'll come back. I prefer Lou Dort over Rui, I think. Hartenstein's better. Aaron Wiggins, not going to lie, for what the Lakers need, I would probably prefer Aaron Wiggins. I think Rui's ceiling. I think Rui's ceiling is better than a lot of these guys. Like I think Rui has a higher ceiling than Cason Wallace. He's a higher ceiling than Aaron Wiggins. I don't know. Aaron Wiggins is a stud. Aaron Wiggins is nice. Cason's way better. I can see the argument. I don't know. I think it's tough. I think it's close. Cason's a baller though. I rock with Cason heavy. Dallas. Luka, Kai, Clay, no. And we'll just start from there. Derek Lively, give me Derek Lively. PJ Washington, give me PJ Washington. Daniel Gafford is tough. Okay, so this is the way, because I think somebody in the chat is making a good point. It is kind of hard to compare because the roles that you need are a little bit different. So I'm gonna say this, like, insert Rui on these teams. I don't know. Would I do a Rui for John Collins straight up? Just because it sounds nasty, probably not. I don't like how Rui fits in Dallas. I think offensively, Rui could make some sense offensively. But even then though, man, look, okay, Rui's an all right fit in Dallas, but you're not starting Rui. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Cleveland. I mean, no shot. I say yet. No. Yeah, never mind. We're going to ignore Cleveland. Boston. Is he a good fit in Boston? No, because what Boston needs no. I'm telling you guys, man. Look. Rui's he's like a seventh or eighth guy. I'm kind of leaning more towards eighth guy. Like, look, I'm with you. I want the Lakers to trade Rui and get guys that fit more what this team needs on the roster. I'm with you. We have crossed the 3-hour mark. The problem with Rui is we would say Rui's best. I would say Rui's best skill set or like attribute, if you will, is his ability to make catch and shoot threes. Can we agree with that? Is that Rui's best trait? His ability to like knock down catch and shoot threes? Is that fair? And I guess like if he's hot, it's his ability to like provide you with some quick scoring. I think that's fair, right? Will we agree that Rui's best attributes are his 3-point shooting and his ability when he's hot as a shot maker in general? Scoring on mismatches, okay. The mid's fallen off a cliff. He's also taken way less mid-range shots than he's like ever taken in his career. And the mid-range shot in general, like efficiency-wise, has fallen off. Orange Sunset, yeah, absolutely. So here's the problem with that. That's Rui's best skill set, right? That's Rui's best skill set. Rui is shooting. I have it at 41%. Let me double check. So that's Rui's best skill set. Rui's best skill set is his 3-point shooting. And the amount of times where we see teams, 41.4% from Rui. The amount of times we see teams completely ignore him in the corner. Despite the fact that he's a 41% three-point shooter. Despite that. It almost doesn't even matter. And the volume is so low. Like, per 75 possessions, Rui's only taking 4 threes per 75 possessions. For context, ladies and gentlemen, Dorian Finney-Smith per 75 possessions takes almost 7 three-point attempts per 75 possessions. For even further context, I'm just going to random teams now, comparing them to other teams like threes. Andrew Wiggins, 6.6 three-point attempts per 75 possessions. Let's go to the Dallas Mavericks. PJ Washington, 4.7 mid-range three-point attempts per 75 possessions. But PJ Washington also does way more than Rui. Let's see here. Where's he at? Dean Mother effing Wade takes 6.6 three-point shot attempts per 75 possessions. But again, Rui's best trait is his shooting, apparently, right? When teams don't give a damn that if he's open and his volume is low. Like, we heard all summer long. Like, we were getting we were just getting slapped in the head all summer long, beat over the head about how the Lakers are going to increase their three-point volume. I think my guy Tyler, Hoop Venue, told me that the Lakers are shooting like 33 threes per 100 possessions or something like that, which is like bottom half in the league, bottom 10 in the league. Bro, if there was one player on the team that would have benefited from the coach speak that we heard all summer about how the Lakers are going to take more threes, they want to improve their shot diet, et cetera, et cetera. There was one player on the team that would actually benefit a lot. It would be Rui Hachimura. Because at the very least, you're not only are you leaning into what we all agree to be his, dare I say, sole purpose on the team is to make shots, right? We all agree that is his sole purpose on the team, is to make shots. Rui is shooting less shots. Like, okay, I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to see this right quick. I don't even want to like read off stats anymore. I want you guys to see this. This is Rui this season. This season compared to last season, okay? Per 75 possessions. Scoring less, 5-point drop off per 75 possessions. 3% drop off in true shooting. The defensive rebounding has somehow got worse. The offensive rebounds has marginally gotten better. The similar playmaking impact defensively. Getting to the free throw line less. Shooting less at the rim. Taking less shots at the rim. Taking less mid-range shots. Now, the efficiency on his mid-range has been terrible. And he's taking less three-pointers. Per 75 possessions. Again, he's the guy that should be taking more three-pointers. Because like I said, let's look at the playoffs really quickly. Oh my God, he was awful in the playoffs last season. I mean, we knew this, but sheesh, good Lord. Goodness, did nothing for you last playoff run. Again, guys, and the reason why I'm like hammering home this point about how he should be shooting the ball more, because like I said, if teams don't care about you shooting the ball, then we're going to force them to care. We're going to force them to care. I'm going to live with you taking 4 open threes a game and you making like 1.5 of them. Good job. Good effing job if that means that I get to sag off of you and clog LeBron and Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis driving lanes and paint touch opportunities. Good. Bravo. Why is he not taking more threes? I don't understand it. I didn't even know the numbers are that low. And I'm very much pro trade Rui. But like, man, for the amount of times For as much as they were as much as they are jamming it down our throats right now, how much they value Rui, the shot profile and the analytics are not aligning with that right now. They are not. It is not in alignment. Sean's drinking a Kool-Aid. What Kool-Aid am I drinking? Rui's too selective. If anything, Rui, please get some gunner in you. Laker fans are gonna get pissed at me saying this. Shoot the ball more. I want Rui to shoot more threes. I think if you were gonna keep Rui Hachimura on the team, having Rui be a negative mid-range shooter, a negative rebounder, a negative defender, and not do the one thing that he does at a decent level at high volume, what the hell is his purpose? What is he doing? I almost said WTF, but trying to make as much money as possible. What the hell is his purpose here? Shoot the damn ball. He wants to keep his 3-point percentage high. It doesn't matter. The 3-point percentage is a fluke. If I pull a B-ball index, look at his shot quality right quick. This turned into a 20-minute rant about Rui Hachimura and his shot profile. But I'm so pissed now. Does he get more touches as a bench player? I don't even know if it's a touches thing. I'll check his touches data right quick, in a sec. I'm starting to sweat. I was cool just having the jacket on still. I know I took the jersey off, but it's I'm actually starting to get hot. That's how fired up I just got. Rui shot quality. That's what I'm looking for. This dude has A+ 3-point shot quality. It's no surprise to me that he has A+ 3-point shot quality, and he has A+ 3-point shot quality. He has C 3-point shooting talent, and he has D- 3-point shot creation. Nope, does not surprise me. Unsubscribe. Sean knows shit about basketball. You know what's so funny? What have I said that's been negative about Rui for the past 15 minutes? The past 15 minutes of me talking about Rui Hachimura has been me saying, shoot the ball, shoot the ball, shoot the ball. I've been encouraging Rui for the past 15 minutes. Now, yes, I want Rui traded because I think Rui's contract can help you get better. But the past 15 minutes have been me saying, look, and it's not like I'm using baseless claims. I'm using the data and looking at the stuff that we've seen. We saw Rui have a terrible playoff series. I'm not lying. I'm not making crap up right now. We saw Rui have a bad playoff series. Just like we saw Austin have a bad start to the Denver series. Austin had a bad game 1 and game 2. Austin was bad. I'm still on my hair. Can't pull it out. All right, it's just gonna stay there, I guess. Austin had a bad start to that series. Objectively, the data does lie. It's not even just the data. This is the data plus what we're all effing watching. We're all watching Rui not being great right now. And going back to the point about Rui and he does what hurts percentages, dog. I would much rather. You know what? I would rather he's shooting 41% from 3. I would rather the Rui Hachimura's 3-point percentage go from 41% to 36%. I would rather him take a 5% drop off. I would rather Rui take a 5% drop off in 3-point percentage if that means he increases 3-point volume. He would be more of a threat. Rui Hachimura increases 3-point volume, but taking a 5% decline in efficiency would so much more benefit him as a player. Especially with the mid-range stuff falling off a gigantic clip. It just would. It just would, man. I kind of forgot what the whole tangent was about. But like if you was a 36% 3-point shooter taking 6 attempts per 75 possessions, hell yeah, let's ride. Pause. But you taking 40%, I mean, you shooting 40% from 3 on 4 attempts per 75 possessions does nothing for a defense. Like I said, we're just going to live with you. We're going to live with you. Like, okay, you get hot one night, good job. You're not going to get enough shots to get hot anyway, so we'll just live with that. I don't know, man. I don't know. If me encouraging Rui is the thing that throws you guys off, and once it makes that like one weirdo want to unsubscribe because I want Rui to shoot the ball more for the sake of the team, or again, what are we doing? Then have at it. I don't know what you want in that scenario. I don't know what you want in that scenario, my man. Am I still doing Lakers Nation? No, I'm not. I'm not. I have not been doing Lakers Nation. I think my last video would have been like middle of July. I will say this. Like, okay, that was weird. I will say this. Complete transparency, because I left Laker Nation, not getting sensitive, but I left Lakers Nation when Trevor was coming back, right? I'm surprised the Wi-Fi held throughout the rant, LOL. Oh, Wi-Fi's been better since the move. This is a new place, so the Wi-Fi's been much better. We got that fixed. When I was leaving, Trevor was just getting back from a trip, right? That's kind of how it got coordinated. And complete transparency, it would have been cool. It would have been cool to do that one last pod with Trevor. It would have, like, complete transparency. That's not only because I think it would have just been fun to have Trevor on here, but it would have been cool in general to kind of get that like one last thing and we're done, right? And then I know that's something I get asked that all the time. So to not only like give you guys what I think you guys want, because like the amount of times I'll read a comment, it's like, dog, can you like do a pod or do a video with Trevor again or something? And like selfishly, yeah, hell yeah, it would have been cool to get that before I left. The timing, unfortunately, just didn't work out because I was like ships passing in the night or whatever, right? Like literally, my last stream or pod was like Team USA like warm up stuff. I think like whatever. It might have been like the first game, maybe even that might have been my last video / stream, or it was like a summer league thing. And it also kind of was frustrating because I couldn't talk about it. So it kind of made it seem like I just like dipped out of nowhere, where again, that wasn't the case. Not to go on a tangent, but the point is, it would have been cool. And I do talk to Trevor. I talk to Trevor, I won't say regularly, but like, you know, once a month or so, maybe once every other month, something like that, right? But again, just didn't work out. All right, let's get to that trade. Dark Galaxy. Let's see. And I believe you say we want to be completely honest and view both sides, right? Is this the trade? I think this is the trade. Dark Galaxy. Rui, Gabe. Hold on, I'll take a sip. Rui, Gabe, JHS, Jackson Hayes, plus 2029, plus 2031 for Cam Johnson, Deron Sharp, and Zaire Williams. I like pasta too. Lakers side, net side, and if I would do it. So your team, if you do this, is goes Austin Max, Cam, Braun, AD. Your bench. Okay, you're really lacking some guard play off the bench now. The good news is you're loaded as hell from a wing standpoint. You're loaded as hell. Like Cam DFS Vando, Cam DFS Vando as your non-Braun wings. That's legit. You be stacked from a wing standpoint. Your guard room just stinks. Like you're essentially saying you're saying Austin Reeves, like, look, you're gonna have all-star level usage. Can you handle that? And that would honestly be the thing that kind of like sways this one way or another, because by further increasing Austin, because like, okay, Gabe's not he's not much for you offensively right now, but at the very least with Gabe can like help start the action. I'm not saying we're gonna run pick and roll a ton with Gabe, but I am saying that, like, look, Gabe can at least be an action starter for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess Cam could also be too. Like, Cam's been pretty good. Cam's been really freaking good for the Nets. That's the biggest concern. But, like, again, outside of that, man, your bench is now Don Connect, DFS, because I'm starting Cam Johnson if you make this trade. I understand the argument for, like, starting DFS still, but I'm starting Cam. I know people are saying you get Markelle Fultz. I mean, okay, sure. I'm not sure how much that moves the needle for you, but okay. Okay, from a Lakers perspective, that's tough. I'd probably say yes. From a Lakers perspective, I say yes. Because you are now so damn loaded from a wing standpoint. And Deron Sharp, this is the thing about the backup big thing. Okay, yes, Walker Kessler can play 20 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night. You could play him and AD next to each other for 15 minutes a night or whatever, yada, yada, yada. That is accurate. But if we're being honest, that's more of a luxury to have a guy that can play next to AD for 15 plus minutes or whatever that is the caliber of Walker Kessler, if that makes sense. If we're talking about what you just need a guy that in a playoff setting that can just eat some innings for 10 minutes. And Deron Sharp can eat innings for 10 minutes. Deron Sharp can be your seventh inning relief pitcher. You know what I'm saying? To make a baseball comp there. Like, he can do that. Zion Williams, by doing that, gives you some cap flexibility for next year because he's an expiring. From a Lakers lens, I would do this. I understand why they didn't do it. Like I said, if the Lakers really wanted Cam Johnson, I think they would have just pulled the trigger when they did the DFS deal. I don't know if they would have gone both DFS and Cam, but I think they would have just went after Cam like aggressively and traded the 2 first-round picks, but they didn't because that was, like I said, Brooklyn's asking price. I would probably do this. I don't even know if I feel great about it, but I would probably do this. The thing I continue to ask myself is, does this move the needle all the way? And I want to say, yeah, I'm just not 100% sure. Brooklyn for doing this, I don't think Brooklyn does this. I don't. I think actually for a Cam Johnson deal to happen, I think it was going to be centered around D'Lo regardless, actually. Because I don't think Brooklyn wants extra salary. You have Rui Hachimura, who has what? Is it 1 or 2 more years after this year? I want to say it's just 1, right? It's just one after this year, I think. And then Gabe has an extra year after this year. I don't know. I mean, they could flip him in the summer, I suppose. But they should have tried to get Bo for the D'Lo trade. Yeah. Again, you would have just had to accept that you're trading Bo first. I don't know if Brooklyn does that. That is like draft comp wise. You got to feel great about getting 2 firsts for Cam Johnson. At the end of the day, you got to feel great. You got to feel great about pulling that side of it off. All right. So at the end of the day, if I'm the Lakers, I do this. If I'm Brooklyn, the salary side might dissuade me, but the fact that I'm getting 2 first-round picks and fully embracing being terrible and playing capture the flag, that does intrigue me. Tina, SoCal Strong, thanks for the stream. Go Lakers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Eric, can Max or Vando guard Shea, Luka, Ja Murray? And if not, is there anyone they could realistically trade for? So this is the fun part about getting Vando back and now having DFS. Because I think if we bunch those guys together, I think they all kind of suit maybe different players, right? I don't know if DFS actually suits these guys, but this is kind of how I feel. I think Max is your Jamal Murray guy, and maybe your John Morant guy. That's kind of how I view. That's kind of how I view Max Christie. Max would be the guy I throw at Jamal. I throw at Ja. Your pick and roll heavy guards. They're smaller, more agile, and quick. That's Max, in my opinion. Your bigger guards that maybe are still pick and roll heavy, but can really use their weight, throw around their body at Max. Like the Luka matchup scares me to death. If it was just Max, that terrifies me. As a matter of fact, I actually like Max with I like Max a ton with Kyrie. I kind of like that. So in a Dallas matchup, I would throw Max at Kyrie personally. I like Vando a ton with Luka. I like Vando a ton with Luka. I do. Now, and even though like Max's weakness is screen navigation, Luka is such a heavy isolation. Luka is such a heavy ISO guard that I think it almost like balances itself out. So like, okay, cool. If you're game plan to neutralize Vando would be cool. We're just gonna eliminate ISOs and play pick and roll the whole time. That's cool, but now you're eliminating a legit part of what makes Luka so dominant is his ISO scoring and playmaking. So Shea, I think you mix and match. I don't know how I feel about Max on Shea. Part of me, I think I don't like that. I'm actually pretty positive I don't like that. I kind of want to see it. DFS on PJ could be interesting. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't play them together. But if you did happen to play Vando and DFS together, I would be interested in seeing like Vando on Clay, DFS on Luka. That could be interesting. Because what Vando's the lead at is ball denial and playing in the passing lanes, isolation defense, which gets neutralized because he's guarding Clay. Clay's not gonna like go one-on-one on you. But the Vando would like eliminate Clay from a Mavs playoff series, I think. Well, wouldn't you play both though? I mean, unless you're going with the biggest lineup in NBA history. You still got to play AD and Bron. I don't think they're going to play all those guys together. Shea, gun to my head, I probably leave Vando. Shea's definitely Vando or DFS. Max is like my last resort out of those three. So for Shea, I would rank it. Let me backtrack. For Jamal Murray, I would go Max, Vando, DFS probably. For Ja, I would go also Max Vando DFS. For Luka, I would go Vando DFS Max pretty comfortably. And then for Shea, I probably go Vando DFS Max. That's probably what I'm thinking there. You guys let me know what you all think. But with that being said, guys, we are at 3.5 hours. We're 7 seconds away from hitting that benchmark. Ladies and gents, I don't know what I just did, but 3.5 hours. Hit that like button for me really, really quickly, guys, before we get out of here. So they might not need to trade for a POA defender. It could use their assets to trade for a big instead. I think having another POA guy would be nice. Like another legit, like if I go watch the IO film and he really is a good POA guy, okay. I would be trained for IO for his offense, so probably, even though he hasn't been a good shooter this year. Big. Go get a backup big. Go get a backup big and like another. Like if you could get some insurance for Max or DFS, that's kind of the idea. That'd be the idea. What about Ochai? I'm honestly not been keeping up much with Ochai this season. I know he got benched for a certain point in time. I think he's back in the rotation, maybe. Like they played tonight. Did he play tonight in their game? Ochai's not even playing for the Raptors. If you can't play on arguably the worst team in the league and can't crack the rotation, we have serious issues. I think he's a decent defender. I'll check how he grades out, like on B-ball index. I'll do that at some point. He's shooting the 3-ball well this year, though. Huh. Volume's low, so similar Ruby conversation. This is the best year of his career, though, impact-wise, it seems. So, I don't know. Tumani, you're coughing up a first, but Tumani's a freaking stud. Dog, I would be stoked if you got Tumani. F the offensive concerns. I'd be stoked if you got Tumani. Oh, my God. Sheesh. Ochai's had a recent hip injury. Okay, that's fair. You would be the fourth team, though, in 4 years to try the Ochai experiment. And at some point, I think it just comes down to, look, he's just not good. Although, like I said, impact-wise, it seems this could be his best year of his career. So, and actually, yeah, he was in the rotation. Yeah. He was playing 29.5 minutes. He's playing in 37 games. So that's a miss on my fault, chat. That's just a miss on me. Davion Mitchell falling out of the rotation, though, is interesting. He had 15 points against the Magic the other night. He had a 20-point game against Brooklyn last month. I mean, again, my thing is the volume's just slow. He shot 48.5% from 3 in the month of November. Oh my God. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll see. All right, guys. 3.5 hours. We were able to do some fun stuff. We were able to talk about the Lakers. Hopefully, able to take you guys' mind off for a second at least. You know, the stuff that happened, that is currently happening in LA. Obviously, really, really tragic. Keep an eye out for all of the great content we got coming. Yeah, man. Probably gonna take tomorrow off from recording anything. I mean, my voice is gonna be cooked probably. You know, I practiced today, I had a hoop venue pod, and then this. So take tomorrow off to recover, and then so we'll have a trade deadline primer coming out soon. That's why actually I'm glad Tony put the IO thing in my head, because I do want to talk about that in my trade deadline primer. Hopefully we were able to do. Shout out to you, Dark Galaxy. Appreciate the trade. Appreciate everybody that's hopped in here. Do me a favor one last time. If you are able to and willing, go click on our our link for the Red Cross donation to help out everybody in Southern California that are currently going through extremely, extremely heartbreaking circumstances. Give me one. Let's get one last like spike, guys, before we head out here. And this was a blast. Sucks that the damn Chargers had to lose in embarrassing fashion. But I'm glad we were able to have some fun conversations, get some great guests. Shout out must go to my guys. Once again, Corbin Ford, Anthony Irwin, and obviously LaVine Booha of The Athletic. It just rolls off the tongue. Like, how can you not say Jovan Buha, then immediately say of The Athletic? It just rolls off the tongue, man. Like Sean Davis of Los Angeles or Sean Davis of Sports Headlines, it just doesn't roll off the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Jovan Buha of The Athletic, that does roll off the tongue, though. But that's going to do it for me. Much appreciated. Much love, everybody. Glad we were able to do this. This was a blast. And I will catch you guys next time. As always, stay safe. Stay freaking safe, man. Check on your loved ones, man, especially during this. If anything, I hope if you're not dealing with it, you are safe. I hope this gives it some perspective. Like, relationships and people matter over everything. So check on your loved ones, man. Stay safe. Love you guys. Appreciate all you guys' support for helping me grow the channel and grow the platform. And I'll catch you guys next time. As always, stay safe. Go Lake Show. Peace out.